Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a special Wednesday before Thanksgiving edition of the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN. That means for us, and hopefully for you, it's Friday. Hell, for Kerry Davis, yesterday was Friday. He's out today. He's going on an extended vacation. He'll be out until next Tuesday. So it's Brooke Grimsley, it's Matthew Rocchio, it's Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us at 7 o'clock. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving, Brooke Grimsley.
Good morning. You probably had a lot of people with the Friday song like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What day is this?
So it's for the work week. It's Friday. This morning I got up a little bit earlier and put my turkey in the big pan so that it's brining now for the next 24 hours. And then tomorrow, I don't sleep in. I'm going to get up early and put that baby on the Traeger, and I will have a wonderful Thanksgiving turkey. And then I'm doing the mac and cheese, and that's it.
Oh, are you hosting?
Yes, hosting. Small group. But, and I've already, and I'm going to let you guys try out the French silk pie at 8 o'clock. It'll be right here in the studio on the Air Alliance Studio Cam. You'll have an opportunity to see Brooke and Matthew try Randy's French silk pie.
I'm excited about that. When you told me that this morning, I was not prepared, but I am willing to take on the challenge.
Yep. Brooke, this is a very exciting day. It's a very exciting weekend for Cardinal fans because the Cardinals sign a legend.
And Gibson is one strike away from the no-hitter. He takes off his cap. He mops his brow. He looks in and gets the side. He starts the windup. Here's the pitch, and it's a strike called. A no-hitter for Gibson. Simmons roars to the mound. Embraces Gibson, who's engulfed by his teammates, as the Cardinals win the game 11-0.
I got chills yesterday when I heard that the Cardinals had signed Gibson. I'm still so fired up. I can't believe it.
Randy, when you said the Gibson highlight that you were posting, I didn't know it was going to be Bob Gibson. I don't think that's who the Cardinals brought back.
Oh, they didn't?
No, it was Kyle Gibson.
Oh.
Not Bob Gibson.
Never mind.
Randy, I had no thought. You walked in and you said, hey, there's a Gibson highlight for the Cardinals who's signing in the folder. Go ahead and play that in the opening segment. All right, fine, sounds good. And my entire thought process the entire time is, okay, yeah, he put together like a strikeout montage for Kyle Gibson.
No, you should have known. You should have known he was up to something.
Didn't even cross my mind.
At what point did you think of that, Randy? Yesterday, when the news was announced.
Unretired 45, just give it to him.
Oh, no, please don't. No. We are happy about Kyle Gibson coming, but I don't know if we want to do all that, yeah. Randy.
By the way, Kyle Gibson, a friend of the show, he is a great guy. He'll probably be our Wednesdays with Kyle or whatever. He is like number 2 in Big League Impact. He's a huge part of Big League Impact with Adam Wainwright. And we'll mention that the Cardinals did sign officially Lance Lynn yesterday and Kyle Gibson. And Brooke, looking at a global level here, these are our 2 good pitchers. Are they what the Cardinals need? Probably not. But are they good pitchers? Yes, they are. Now, there's still work to do for your St. Louis Cardinals during this offseason. But as we see, even with championship teams, even with the Texas Rangers who had to have a bullpen game in the World Series, the Philadelphia Phillies had to do it, right? They had to have a bullpen game in the LCS. The Diamondbacks. You need as many pitchers and pitches as possible. Now, do the Cardinals have enough high quality here? Do they have an ace? Do they have somebody that you want to start game 1 against Zach Wheeler in a playoff series?
No.
Don't have that guy. But, and they're going to have to spend a little bit more money. Are they loading up on 3, 4, 5 guys? They are. Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson are wonderful. Way better than what they had last year. 3, 4, 5 guys. Jack Flaherty was not good last year. Waino was not good last year. These guys are upgrades over what the Cardinals had. Now what the Cardinals need to do is upgrade over their number 1 guy from last year, who was Miles Michaelis.
Yes, and I do understand all of that. So I was a little hesitant, though, when I heard the news. I think with Kyle Gibson, it's another innings eater, which I think that when people hear that, like, okay, great, but he also led the American League in hits, right?
Right, yep.
And so...
And won 15 games. He threw enough innings.
He did, yes.
And that was a pretty good offense. Cardinals have a decent offense. He did enough to win 15 games, which is It's the old, don't tell me about the labor, just show me the baby.
Exactly.
I like the end result. It's kind of like the Dakota Hudson. Don't watch the game. Just wait for the end result.
Is that what you're saying for next season? Is just do that.
Yeah.
And I do get that. You just have 4 guys now that are mid to back end of the starting rotation, right? And I just thought that the approach might be a little bit different because we're just judging things based off the moves that are being made right now. So you have that 91-loss season. You're really anxiously waiting as the fan base to see what moves the Cardinals will make. And then you get 2 pitchers who are 36 years old. These are very obviously short-term contracts with that age. And I can understand some of the frustration with fans where you're waiting for a big splashy move. And I know that John Mozeliak addressed that in his press conference yesterday where, we don't want to be waiting around. These are guys that could possibly be gone soon. They're still going to look to address the top of the starting rotation, which is what you want to hear because I think we would all be very scared if this is just what the starting rotation was. But say that the Cardinals, Randy, go out and get a Sonny Gray, and this is it for the starting rotation. So you have Matz, Lance Lynn, Sonny Gray, Miles Michaelis, and Kyle Gibson now. Is this a starting rotation you feel comfortable with going into next season?
Well, it depends on what you want to be. I think if you get Sonny Gray and your goal is to get back to 500, then yeah. Now, that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to go from 91 losses to 91 or 95 wins. If that would be the goal, no, I would not feel comfortable with Sonny Gray at the top of my rotation. And the question that I would have to ask myself is, okay, who's my guy to match up with Spencer Strider when I play Atlanta? Who's my guy that can go 0 for 0 with Spencer Strider for 6 or 7 innings? Who's my guy that can go 0 for 0 with Zach Wheeler? Who's my guy that can go 0 for 0 with Corbin Burns? You need that guy, and the Cardinals don't have that guy right now. Even if you get Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is not a guy that goes 0 for 0 with another team's number 1. How do you win a series? You win the first game, and you need to be able to take game 1. And unfortunately for the Cardinals right now, that guy's not on the horizon in the system, and Sonny Gray's not that guy. So you need to be looking in the waters of a Blake Snell or a Yamamoto or one of the other quality pitchers that's available right now, and I don't think the Cardinals are going to swim in those waters. I believe if the Cardinals get a number 1, it's almost got to be via trade.
But then there's also a concerning aspect where John Mozeliak mentioned yesterday they haven't looked that deep into the trade market yesterday, is what he said.
That's...
What is that? Do you think that he's just saying that, and maybe that they are, or what is your takeaway from when he says that?
Yeah, well, you had general managers meetings. I mean, it is incumbent upon you. It's your job. It's your responsibility to talk to Chris Getz, the general manager of the White Sox, about Cease, to talk to Eric Neander, the Pobo for the Rays, about Tyler Glasnow. That's your responsibility, and if he hasn't talked to those guys or gone in depth with those guys by Thanksgiving about getting those guys, that is baseball operations malpractice. Mm-hmm. That's just horrible. When you look at the Braves have basically rebuilt their bullpen since the end of the season. And now they're playing with a great deal of desperation. And I'm not saying the Cardinals should have already made trades, but if you have not gone in depth and told the White Sox what you're ready to give up and asked the White Sox what they want, or told the Rays what you're ready to give up, or asked the White Sox what they want, or the Rays, about Glasnow. If you've done that, that's malpractice and you aren't doing your job. Exactly. And I'm not saying that he's done that. He said he hasn't gone in depth. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying a general manager in this situation that hasn't is committing malpractice.
Well, and then you worry about with free agency, right? About spending money. We know that they don't hand out those long-term contracts. So I know that Yamamoto, I think a lot of people were hoping that, okay, you make these short-term deals, you go get Kyle Gibson and you get Lance Lynn. Maybe this opens up the window for a Yoshi Yamamoto, which is obviously the big name in this free agency. And yesterday in the press conference, Martin Kilcoyne asked John Mozeliak about reaching possibly a puke point in free agency.
Look, we still have to be responsible. And I feel like this is always sort of a silly question. Don't be offended. But, just because there's a number that we may or may not go over, but there's also is the player's desire to be here. This is a two-way street. It's not just us throwing money at something and hopefully we can resolve it. It's got to be mutual. It has to be someone that feels it's a fit here. That's why we identified these 2 players today, because they truly wanted to be a part of the Cardinal organization. There are other players we talked to that were, just looking at what the financial proxy might look like. So I think to try to boil it down into your statement it's just not fair, because that's just not how it really works. And so as the offseason continues, some more negotiations and more talks will happen, but we'll see where we end up. But we think today is a very good first step, because the biggest thing we needed last year was definitely some innings and depth in that rotation.
All the more reason to be going deep into trade talks and not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, I didn't exactly feel encouraged about their approach with going and getting one of those top tier. When we're talking about top tier, Blake Snell and Yoshi Yamamoto. Obviously, Aaron Nola is completely off the board. I still think with Aaron Nola, you should have probably tried to put in that offer. I know that he wants to stay in Philly, and I understand what John Mozeliak is saying. You want players who want to be here. You want players who want to be in St. Louis, who want to play for the St. Louis Cardinals. I totally understand that. Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, they want to be St. Louis Cardinals. You know what else helps with people wanting to be St. Louis Cardinals is if you give them the money that they need and what they think that they deserve. And that's part of the competition of this, right? This is part of the negotiations. All the players, of course, would say, yeah, I want to go to this team and this team. That's a negotiation tactic, not to show all your cards, because it's a two-way street. The Cardinals also have to be comfortable with going out and courting players who maybe don't exactly have the St. Louis Cardinals at the top of their list, but show, yes, we really want you to be here. We want that aggressiveness. I think that's what people were hoping from John Mozeliak and the Cardinals, is that aggressiveness of, okay, we're going to convince you why you want to come here to St. Louis.
And now with two $12 million pitchers, the Cardinals, Lynn at 10 with the ability to make 13, Gibson at 12. Cardinals, according to my math, have probably $12 or $13 million left to spend, and that's another reason why they need to make a trade. We are going to talk more about this at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take your mic drops. Just open up your 101 ESPN app. Leave us a mic drop about how you feel about Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Not Bob, unfortunately. I was wrong. But yeah,
I was not prepared for that this morning.
Leave us a mic drop. Tell us what you think of where the Cardinals are right now on November 22nd, 2023. Brooke, they took our president.
Oh my God.
60 years ago today, right?
Randy!
What a random, unbelievable,
I looked at the
slightly left turn you were making.
They took our president.
Oh my!
Just saying. 60 years ago today. And then they played the following Sunday in the NFL. Throw that. It's a sports show. Got to throw that out there. For those not aware.
I hope someone realizes.
For those that kind of like me, although I did apparently show up on school on this date.
Yes.
Because November 22nd, 1963, the President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was assassinated in Dallas. And that's why I bring that up. So now you know via radio. What? Well, Matthew's laughing about a president. Dallas took our president.
I'm sorry. I'm cracking myself up because I said you took a slight left turn there.
Oh.
Randy.
So it's Wednesday. It's Ask Uncle Randy Day.
The plaza's built.
Get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646 314-399 Yo-ho. And we've got Ask Uncle Randy. You know, I know educational stuff now too. You know it, so you can ask it. It's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
question for Uncle Randy? Let him dive into his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
Do the turkey, and a couple of things. Make sure that in two cavities, where the neck is and where the legs are, that you remove the items in the cavity of the turkey if you're preparing the turkey for the first time. If you're doing a deep fried turkey, don't drop it into the fryer. If it's frozen, make sure that it's all thawed out, completely thawed out. You can just go to YouTube and look at deep fried turkey mistakes or deep fried turkey kerfuffles or something like that.
Kerfuffles.
And you can find what happens to deep fried turkeys, frozen turkeys that are put in the deep fryer. It's not a good thing.
I've never had a deep fried turkey.
You haven't?
No.
Maybe between now and Christmas, I'll have to bring one in.
Is it juicier, or
It's
what's
really
the
good.
difference?
It's kind of crispy on the outside too. Yeah, it's not juicier than one that you make with, like, I'm brining one today, but
Yes.
they are delicious. I will deep fry one and I'll bring it in.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Should I just keep saying things that I want to try and then?
And if I've done it before, I have the.
I would like to try a filet mignon.
Well, we can do that. That's easy on
Filet.
the Traeger.
Yeah.
You can just do the show from my house. We'll have like steak and eggs for breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that counts as a breakfast item. I see what you just did there, Randy. You're trying to get me back into that.
What? No, steak and eggs is a real thing.
Okay, I know, but
A perfect breakfast item.
breakfast, yes, the breakfast kerfuffle that I had last week. Remember
The Brenner kerfuffle?
Yeah.
Brenner?
Yeah.
What's considered breakfast,
You know
lunch,
what? I'm
and
not going
dinner?
to call it a kerfuffle. I'm going to call it an armistice, we're at an impasse. it's a Brenner impasse, if you will.
Breakfast for dinner is just fabulous.
Thank you, Randy. Randy, let's get into the big stuff.
You said it is?
Yeah.
Good.
Like I said, I dabbled in it every once in a while.
All right. What do we got? What do we got on the old text line here?
Dear Uncle Randy, for educational purposes only, who do you think really killed JFK?
Ooh.
That is the first text we got for this segment.
Okay, this is
100%, no manipulation. This is 100% the first text we got for this segment. I had to do it.
I'm not going to go with Ted Cruz's dad.
So you don't want to be president?
I know that thought process has been tossed out there, but I'm not going to go with that one. I am going to go with the conspiracy. I like the Sinatra and Castro one, and especially.
I don't think I've heard that
So
one.
Sinatra. Kennedy asked for Sinatra's endorsement with the unions, and that's essentially why he got elected. But Sinatra had close ties to the mafia, as you might guess, Sinatra. And once he got elected, Kennedy would never have Sinatra to the White House. He just kind of shut him out, even though Sinatra had basically gotten him elected. He was ticked at him until November 22nd, 1963. He was very mad at him. So I'm going to go with that one.
Ooh.
Sorry, Frank.
I've never heard that one.
Not Sinatra.
Oh, okay.
Because Cusimano wouldn't want to hear that, but it's a good one. There's a fantastic book by Kitty Kelly about Frank Sinatra. Great book. It's really thick. I read the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's called My Way. And Sinatra was none too happy when she wrote it. But it's a really good book.
Here's the thing about being a good Italian. It's hard to watch The Godfather as many times as a good Italian has with the character in the first one that there is, and not then also realize that it's supposed to be Sinatra. Like that's who he's supposed. Tommy's supposed to. He's supposed to be Sinatra. So
right.
like, you can't do both if you're a true blue Italian. You got to settle with one or the other.
So thanks for that text. I do appreciate it.
Dear Uncle Randy, I'm afraid to deep fry and my oven is broken. How long do I need to microwave my turkey for? Is 2.5 hours long enough to get a crisp skin?
If you can text us back, I'm not a big fan of the idea of microwaving a turkey. Depending on how big it is. Today, it's very affordable to go out to the store and get an air fryer. You can call Hoffman Brothers. They'll fix your oven today. HoffmanBros.com. Or, and this is why I want you to text back, put it on the grill. And what you need to do, just don't do the microwave, okay? But just low temperature, 300, 325 on the grill for hours and hours, and get yourself a internal meat temperature reader, and get it up to about 155 degrees on the thickest part of the breast.
There you go. Somebody said broil it. Is that good advice?
Well, his oven's broke.
Oh, yeah. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Microwaving it, I feel like would cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, not the play.
Uncle Randy, I'm a huge Packers fan, so I need some advice for tomorrow. Am I allowed to tailgate and drink at 11:30 a.m.?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Why not? I mean, it's a football Thursday, 11 a.m. I mean, 9 a.m., 6 a.m.
Start as early as possible.
It's a football day. When we tailgated back in the day when the Rams were here for a noon game, we were there by 7, 8 o'clock, and there were people imbibing on a regular basis. Yeah, whenever you want to tailgate, you tailgate. Well, if there's a game. But on game day, yeah, it's 24/7, baby.
I'm actually a big supporter of just tailgating other events that aren't sporting.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's just figure out other stuff we can tailgate. Like, if your friend's having a garage sale, tailgate the garage sale. Why not? There's no reason not to have a noon beer.
Right. No, people tailgate at concerts. I think it's great.
If you're inside of your house, you can drink at any time.
Yeah.
I think that should be a hard, fast rule. If you can see the building you're going to sleep at, you can drink pretty much at any time.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's not wrong. That's not wrong at all. I mean, if you might have a problem. I mean, if you're drinking all the time.
Yeah, that might be an issue.
Dear Uncle Randy, why is it that the worst cooks always want to step up and make Thanksgiving meals? My father-in-law makes the driest turkey that I've ever had, and there's only something I can say to get out of eating these without hurting his feelings.
I have never encountered that, and I wish I had an answer for you. When I was growing up, my dad did the turkey. He taught me how to do the turkey, and I think our plan works very well. I've almost always enjoyed our turkey, but I don't consider myself a bad cook either, and I do wonder why. Have you ever, either of you two, encountered a bad Thanksgiving meal? You've run into
Yes.
it? Okay. I don't know why that happens then.
And you don't want to be rude because it's supposed to be like a nice, happy event with everybody gathering. That's a tough situation. I think you just kind of get some of the food and you do if it's the plastic plates or the paper plates, actually, that's a better way to do this, then you just do the fold method when you put it in the trash can so they don't see that you didn't eat all the turkey. And you just get like a few pieces. Unless he's watching everything that you're doing, that's a little tough. Or you can do the old napkin over the plate trick.
Yep.
That helps.
That's a good one. Here's another play. If it's predictable that the turkey is not going to be prepared well, head on over to Schnucks, get some of their sliced turkey breast, a couple of pounds, and then say, hey, I brought pre-sliced turkey for open-faced sandwiches. You put the turkey, you put mashed potatoes, you put stuffing, you put cranberry sauce, you put gravy on your open-faced turkey sandwich, and just have your Thanksgiving meal that way, and let Schnucks handle it. And by the way, if you just use the Schnucks Rewards app today, cha-ching, you can have it waiting at the deli. You can have your meat waiting at the deli for you when you walk in. Just go in, you pick it up out of a cooler and take it to the register, and you're done. Bing, bang, boom.
Randy has all of the hacks for today to get you through Thanksgiving and all your possible issues.
I love that Schnucks Reward app so much. Uncle Randy, who will win the Kirkwood versus Webster Groves Thanksgiving game?
All right. I don't want to offend any of my friends in either municipality, but it sure seems like Kirkwood is a better team this year. I know you throw all the records out the window when Kirkwood and Webster play. I've seen plenty of them. But this one seems like a good year for J-Mac and the Pioneers.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I think with Kirkwood. Well, so who won last year? Was that Kirkwood?
Kirkwood, yeah.
Yeah.
So it has been and hadn't been the easiest go for the Webster Statesman.
Yes.
Oh, we've got a good one. He's got a. Ooh.
Yeah, this is a really
Let's hear it.
one because wedding invitations are always a weird one.
Okay, good.
Dear Uncle Randy, what's the rule on the wedding guest list? My sister said I was dead to her over something extremely petty, and now they're saying I'm wrong for not inviting her to my wedding. She also wants to invite kids, and my fiance and I are going to have a no kids policy. So how can I bring all of this up?
Okay, I don't like this. I'm sorry, I don't like your approach. Number one, you only have one family. And even if she is considered dead to you, let her be the bad guy. She said you're dead to her. Let her be the bad guy. Put the invitation in the mail. I also am not a fan of not allowing kids at weddings because it's a joyous family occasion. And it's an example of the future of your family. So I can't agree with that philosophy either. Now, if it's cost prohibitive for you, that's a different thing. If you can't invite kids because you just can't afford it, that's one thing. But what are you going to do? I mean, why would you not want kids there? Now, Brooke is preparing for a wedding. So because you're getting married now in next year, 2024. What do you think here?
I think that, one, family is very important. So I would find some way to reconcile that relationship. It sounds like there's a lot that is happening there to get to the point where you're dead to somebody and that conversation comes up. I would find a way to reconcile this. And I think that it's better to, like you said, to try to do that invitation. And if she wants to be the bad person and turn it down, then that's on her. But at least you can look back and say, I tried to mend this relationship. I tried to invite her, because I think that you always look back and say, well, that was a special moment. I'm glad that my family members were there. And I agree with you, the cost. I think with kids at weddings, it's always hard to determine, because then you don't want a ton of kids at weddings, because then things get really expensive, especially with catering. That is something that I knew was going to be expensive, but not fully prepared for how expensive that was going to be, Randy. So I can understand, like, at least knowing a full head count and maybe not too many people going, and that those specific ages, because I know some kids just pick off their parents' plates.
Right. And one thing about kids, they bring energy. Not that it's not an energetic endeavor anyway, but kids just seem to bring energy to a wedding, a nuptials celebration.
Yeah.
I get the no kids thing.
Yeah, you hate kids. I get it.
I don't know why. I don't know why it has to be the joke. No,
dogs.
Dogs. Our dog's allowed. Not with him.
Just to recap.
I love
Doesn't
kids.
like kids. Doesn't like dogs. Doesn't like cats. Doesn't like his Pop-Tart in the toaster.
Ooh, yeah, that might be the worst
Those are some big
because
big
of how they
issues.
botched 40, I had to wake up and go to high school at 5:30 in the morning. So I didn't have time to microwave the Pop-Tart, Brooke. That's the problem.
It's a minute.
It was at 5:30 in the morning. I was 17, Randy. I should have been sleeping.
It was a big deal. Okay. Egregious.
Uncle Randy, should I forgive St. Louis fans who have become Chiefs fans, or should I continually educate them on Clark Hunt's involvement in the Rams relocation?
Well, if you want to be logical and you want to be educated, then I will educate you. Clark Hunt was on the committee. I was there throughout the entire process. So Clark was on the relocation committee that included Bob McNair, owner of the Texans, Wellington Mara, or John Mara, the owner of the Giants, Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, Jerry Richardson, owner of the Panthers at the time, and Art Rooney and Clark Hunt. You had 6 people on that committee. The vote for the Carson Project on January 12, 2016 was 5-1. Clark Hunt was the dissenting vote. He said in the meeting, he said to me, when I asked, why would you vote for the Inglewood Project rather than the Carson Project? He said, well, we're voting on sending 2 teams to Los Angeles. We're a business. Is Los Angeles even going to support one team? And he was voting strictly from a business perspective, which makes all the sense in the world. And he has been proven correct. Los Angeles is not supporting those teams, not with Chargers and Rams fans. Now, the other thing that happened was that Jerry Jones, there's your villain. He steamrolled the other owners, okay? He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of influence, and came in and he lambasted the other owners. He yelled at Michael Bidwell. He yelled at Jerry Richardson. Actually got Richardson out of the league ultimately with his desire to get the Rams to Los Angeles. Jones came in and got Steve Biscotti to ask for a private vote. Owners always are going to vote for money. And for the first time in the history of the league, they overrode a committee recommendation. For the first time in the history of the league, a committee had voted for one thing, the Carson Project. History of the league, 100-year-old league. And the owners voted against the recommendation of that group. Clark Hunt was voting logically and without malice and really without emotion. He was voting from a business perspective. And you know what? If you like sports, how can you not like watching Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and that group? To me, that seems pretty kind of like cutting off your nose to spite your face. If you are not watching the Chiefs because you perceive that there was an issue with Clark Hunt, who actually said he wanted the Rams in St. Louis. The Rams for the Chiefs, the Rams were better in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would want to deprive yourself of watching one of the more entertaining players and groups of players in the history of the league.
Especially for young kids. If you're looking for a team, there has to be so many young fans of Patrick Mahomes and even Travis Kelce, just the energy that they have brought over the years. It's such an exciting team to watch. In Arrowhead Stadium, I haven't been there, but I've heard it's a must to go to see a game.
Spot, yeah.
And to me, I always perceived that this was more of an issue between the cities. I feel like there's like a deep kind of competition between the two cities more than the whole Clark Hunt situation.
Yeah.
I understand frustrations, though, with being involved with the relocation with the Rams, though, because if anything, did you feel like Jerry Jones had even more to do with that?
Jerry Jones had everything to do with it. He's the one that planted the seed in Kroenke's head.
Yes.
He's the one that convinced Goodell and Eric Grubman to completely reject the St. Louis overtures. He's the one that walked into that final meeting. Actually, he called for the agreement. He got Goodell and said, "Hey, let's get a deal here between Stan and Spanos and Davis." So he's the one that forced the agreement. Jerry Jones is the villain. If there's multiple villains, Goodell is a villain. He's a liar. Jerry Jones is a villain. Kroenke is a villain. The guy Pagula in Buffalo is a villain. Biscotti in Baltimore is a villain. Clark Hunt, not so much. Those guys are all the ones that were in the camp. And the people that we should appreciate here, Michael Bidwill was staunchly behind St. Louis, one of the two votes, along with Jerry Richardson, against the move of the Rams. And obviously the late Jerry Richardson is no longer with us. But Michael Bidwill, despite all of the things going on in the Valley of the Sun, he was totally behind St. Louis. So it was the Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals in that 30-2 vote that voted against the Rams moving to L.A. So there you have it. And that thing happened like 2 years ago when we came to our final agreement, our $790 million. How's that money being spent in the city? Are we doing okay?
Now we know via radio.
Yeah.
Nothing just yet.
Okay.
Not doing great.
Okay. Coming up, mic drops, and we'll hear a little bit of what Mo had to say yesterday, but we want to hear from you. What do you think of the state of the Cardinals? As Mo said, long way to go in this offseason, but on November 22nd, 2023, what are you thinking of what the Cardinals have already accomplished this offseason? That's next. You're next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday making another move for the pitching staff, bringing in former Missouri Tiger Kyle Gibson on a 1-year, $12 million contract with an option for next year. Also, Kyle Gibson, a big league impact ambassador, so Cardinals locker room likes to have in those guys, so he'll be a great fit for that Cardinals locker room. Also coming up later today, we're going to be speaking to Jamie Rivers live from Arizona. It's 9:15 with Brooke and Randy and the Blues will be back in action facing off against the Coyotes. It's another late game, 8 p.m. puck drop with a 7 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. And tomorrow, the usual Black Friday matchup between now number 9 Missouri facing off against Arkansas. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff on CBS. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your Rosen Shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
The World Series ended less than a month ago, and we're about 3 weeks into the free agency period. Cardinals have signed 2 free agents, both Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson being officially introduced as Cardinals yesterday. And John Mozeliak said, yeah, it's something that we've done, but the offseason isn't over quite yet.
I think that's the thing you have to realize about baseball. You play every day. So to go out and just sign one elite pitcher and then do nothing else, that's not going to solve our problems. Our problems were getting deeper into games, and both these 2 gentlemen pitched a lot of innings last year. One did it on a very competitive team, one got traded to a very competitive club, and they both bring not only experience, but the ability to do that, and that's important. As I said, this is not the finish line. This is just a day. I'm not going to predict what's going to happen over the next month or 2 months, but we know our work isn't finished.
So there you have it. And Brooke, you brought up something during the break, and I want to touch on this. You brought up the name of Trevor Bauer, and a lot of people don't care about what has happened over the last couple of years, whether it was a setup or whether he came to an agreement with the woman in which nobody paid any money. He was never charged. But baseball still deals with optics. And for many people, especially, I would think, women and fathers, the optics of the Trevor Bauer situation are unseemly.
Yes, and I think that there's a lot more to it, too. You have the stories about him not exactly being a clubhouse guy, a cancer in the clubhouse, if you will, and maybe he's been able to mend some of those relationships. And I know that his agent has spoken about that they are talking with some Major League Baseball teams. I think that if there was a team who wanted to bring him back, then we probably would have already heard it by now. We probably would have heard some of those connections of which teams are exactly interested in him. And that doesn't seem to be even something that is in sight for any of these teams at this moment.
And I guess the question from me would have to be, and I would say no, as the father of a 25-year-old daughter, if Trevor Bauer is in your town. And by the way, the initial complaint that was offered in Southern California is not the only one. There are multiple other accusations of Trevor Bauer. Would you want your daughter or your sister dating Trevor Bauer? I would not.
No, I would not either. I 100% agree with you on that. I think that the optics are very important, and I know that Major League Baseball and other professional sports leagues have not gotten it right a lot of times, and I know that there's people who have even gotten off lighter. I mean, with Marcell Ozuna, you look at the situation that he has dealt with in Atlanta with his own wife, and there's even actual video proof of things that he's done. I think that it's always a very tough situation, but getting the optics of it right, I think there's a lot more to the Trevor Bauer story. And also reporters like Jeff Jones, Derek Gould, Katie Wu have all asked John Mozeliak about that. And Jeff Jones even tweeted this out here recently that he did ask about Trevor Bauer to John Mozeliak and got a no. So that's all that you can report on it at this moment.
And by the way, if you don't care, if the way that a person conducts himself outside of the baseball field doesn't matter to you, I'd rather sign Urias. Right? I mean, he's younger, he's better.
Yeah.
Would you rather? Yeah. Yeah. So if the humanity of the person doesn't matter to you at all, sign Urias. Let's get a mic drop from Lisa here on 101 ESPN.
Morning, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Randy, you were around with the Bushes. I have a serious question. Are the DeWitts, Mo, are they just at the end of their careers and they're just tired and done? They've brought so much winning and joy and everything. Are they done? And you said something just a second ago that's really kind of frightening, that, in the system there's no pitching. Isn't that what they used to be known for? I'm so confused.
Yes, it is what they used to be known for, although a lot of the pitchers didn't really pan out. And by the way, during the Tony Dunk era, they were more known for resurrecting or bringing to the fore young pitchers, people like Todd Wellemeyer and Kemp Bottenfield and Chris Carpenter and Kyle Osha. They had a million guys. Not very many young pitchers have actually succeeded with the Cardinals over the course of the last, really, 40 years, even going all the way back to Whitey Herzog. Are the DeWitts finished? I don't know. I would suggest that they had so much success doing what they do between 2000 and 2020 that they still think that that's the way to go about it. When it looks to me with other organizations, Mr. DeWitt, when he promoted John Mozeliak, said that he asks his team every day, the baseball operations team, what is our competitive advantage? Well, you look at the Braves signing all of their young players and developing and doing a great job in the international market. Cardinals do not do a great job in the international market. Look at Houston. Going out and saying, okay, you know what? Maybe it's not smart for us to just stop thinking that Latin players have developed at the age of 16. Maybe we should go back to Latin America and look at 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old players that are still performing over there and that are actually reaching the age that we draft at. And that's how Christian Javier and Framber Valdez and Luis Garcia wound up in a world championship rotation. They had 4 guys that nobody else signed because they were considered ancient by other organizations. That is a competitive advantage. When you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, what do? They said, oh, we got new rules changes. We're going to start stealing bases. We're going to find another way to manufacture runs. The Cardinals are still living, in my opinion, in that 2015, 2016 era, when the game has changed so dramatically by 2023. And on the field and in development and in player procurement, they seem to me to be behind a lot of teams. So I think that's the problem, is the adage evolve or die? I don't think the Cardinals are evolving.
Well, and that's what you've also brought up, is that they seem to be reactive rather than proactive. When you look at the pitching philosophy, they admitted that they have to change that. The rule changes that you saw this past season, they seem to be behind the times with that. And so now it feels like you're being very reactive instead of proactive to what those trends may be. So what do you think is their competitive advantage right now?
I don't know that there is one, Brooke. I think, well, let me amend that. They can identify talent and get it into their system. I believe, I don't know if it was this past season, but the year before, there were more Cardinal-produced players in Major League Baseball than any other franchise. So they can identify young talent. We know that. What they have to do is do a better job of polishing that young talent and getting it to the Major League level and succeeding at the Major League level.
I agree. And that's the thing, is developing that talent.
So that, if I were to pick out one competitive advantage, that would be it. All right. Thank you, Lisa. And we'll do more here at the top of the hour. We're going to have these two taste the French silk pie, but we're also going to talk more Cardinals and hear more from you. But next up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, kids, here we go. Bob Nightingale tweeted yesterday, great point, that with San Diego's hiring of Mike Schilt, there are now 4 managers in the National League with very deep Cardinal ties. David Bell played for the Cardinals and was their bench coach, and now he's the manager of the Reds. Skip Schumacher was the Cardinals bench coach, played for the Cardinals. Now he's the manager of the Marlins, and now Mike Schilt, who spent almost 20 years in the Cardinal organization, the manager of the Padres. Brooke, take it or leave it. Even leaving talent out of it, there is a tremendous amount of pressure on Ollie Marmol because of the other managers with Cardinal ties in the National League.
Oh, I'm going to take it because, by the way, and it wasn't brought up in the conversation, which everything yesterday was about bringing in Lynn and also Gibson and their approach for the rest of the offseason. But still, the elephant in the room is that Ollie Marmol's contract is done after next season, right? And so that pressure is really building up even more with the rumors of, was Yachty going to return the organization, which still could be a possibility, but obviously he's not going to take over that managerial role. Or even be a bench coach for the Cardinals going into next season. I think that there's a lot of pressure on Ollie Marmol, and that narrative is just going to continue of, well, should this person have been the manager of the Cardinals instead of Ollie?
And and it doesn't take us, but you know that we're going to do it. We're going to compare and contrast, right? But everybody can look at the standings.
You, Randy, know.
But, well, I think it's just logical, right?
Yes.
Okay, what did manager A, B, and C versus manager D do yesterday? And what are the standings today for Schulte, for Skip, for David Bell versus Ollie? That it's a natural thing to happen. Bob Nightingale is a national guy, and he's the one that put up on Twitter that the Cardinals have the 4 managers with ties. So I think that it's going to be a really interesting comparison throughout the course of the 2024 season.
Before I get into my take it or leave it, just a quick question bouncing off of that. The Padres, their situation is kind of messy when it comes to money, and will they be getting rid of a lot of those big contracts and everything like that? Is that a situation that you would want to go in and manage in if you're not Ollie, but if you're Mike Schilt? Because that's also a tough position to be in.
But at least he knows the organization, right? I don't think that if Mike Schilt were in a different organization and if he had choices, probably wouldn't go there because Preller doesn't have the best reputation. But he probably has an idea as to how to deal with Preller. Might not work. I mean, there might be philosophical differences at some point, but yeah, I think that's from a talent perspective, it's a good situation for him. And those guys will play better under Mike Schilt.
Yes. Take it or leave it. So there is a possibility here. Well, I know that he said that they haven't taken that deep of a look into the trade market, and I'm talking about John Mozeliak. But theoretically, you could still maybe go and get a top-tier starting pitcher, and you could still make a trade. Take it or leave it, they can move Matz to the bullpen.
I'll take
that situation.
Yeah, I will absolutely take that. Now, do you want to have an $11 million relief pitcher? Probably not, especially if it's not your closer.
Yeah.
But they could do it. But Metz is making more than, at least base, more than Lynn.
Yes.
That would be my only question.
They did like him, though, coming out of the bullpen. I felt like that was a big part of his resurgence last season, which helped him get back into the starting rotation. Of course, he got injured, but he looked pretty good coming out of the pen.
And when I talked to him right after he suffered the injury, he said that just going out and letting it rip was part of the reason that when he came back into the rotation that he was good. I think he's another guy. Hate to say this, but Zach Thompson got better when he started watching Clayton Kershaw video. Matt started getting better when he just started doing what he had done before.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes these guys are better off not necessarily adhering to the coaching that they're given and just do what you think you do best. Yeah.
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 Take it or leave it. Mike Schilt will win Manager of the Year within 3 seasons.
I'll take that.
Oh, I'm going to take that.
Yeah. He already won one. Yeah, and it's San Diego has a lot of players. They aren't going anywhere. Machado's not going anywhere. Tatis isn't going anywhere. Bogarts isn't going anywhere. What other 11? Well, they've got Darvish under contract. they'll probably move Soto, but that'll inject some youth into their program in 2024. So I really like the Padres, the way they're set up to win. Now they're going to lose Hader too, but Mike is pretty good about figuring out a bullpen.
Well, especially with turning around a group and a clubhouse culture that was in there. I mean, that was a big thing, is going from a team that was not doing well to the way that he was able to turn around so quickly. I'm sure that was a big reason why the Padres wanted him as their manager.
And he turned around the fundamentals in a blink. It was unbelievable how quickly he turned that around.
Yeah.
And he's got some good players. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. won the Gold Glove, moving to right field. Bogarts is a nice defensive player. Ha-Sung Kim. He's a really good defensive player. They've got a lot of good assets there in San Diego. What you need, Matthew? You all right? He's looking at the different computer.
Yeah, we're just having an issue with the camera. Okay. Take it or leave it. Although turkey is the star of the show, the sides are what make Thanksgiving dinner go.
I will 100% take that.
I'm going to take that. Yes.
I don't hate
sides.
Yeah, don't hate turkey, but turkey is it's mildly overrated. Now, turkey that you just eat that's not on a sandwich. Okay, turkey sandwiches are spectacular.
Oh, I love a good turkey sandwich.
But just regular turkey with gravy on it, kind of overrated.
Yeah, I feel like that's the sides kind of add to it. Do you do a little mixing too?
Oh yeah, I'm a mixer.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what really makes the turkey.
All right, Matthew, go ahead. You want to talk about it? Go
Speaking
ahead.
of sides, we did a little draft yesterday. The voting is still up, by the way.
Oh, don't reveal it until
and
the next
2
segment.
minutes left.
Follow me, Randy Carricker on Twitter, Karraker. Follow me, and you can or follow. Did you retweet it, Brooke?
I did. Yes.
Brooke Grimsley retweeted it. So did Matthew Rocchio.
Yes, I did.
Oh, the main tweet. Sorry.
So yeah, just vote for me.
I missed that part. Sorry.
Vote for me. I'm pandering for votes, but here's the thing. I will admit to you. So hopefully you'll vote for me, even though I'm going to tell you I did not have a great draft.
No, you weren't pretty happy about it, but you have mac and cheese. I feel like mac and cheese is always the crowd pleaser.
And here's the thing. You guys don't have gravy on your potatoes or stuffing. I have gravy on my turkey. So that's a big deal for me. Cranberry sauce, very strong. I like it. I love my dessert. I think I won the dessert category, but I'm just not. And I have a salad, which is very healthy.
You have a very balanced Thanksgiving, which I don't know if is something that everybody's looking for.
I just
Thanksgiving.
I wanted something to put my gravy on besides turkey, and I didn't wind up with that. So, Matthew, congratulations. You've got this thing won, don't you?
No,
there's still time.
You can whip plenty of votes, especially with your follower count. You could easily beat me.
Please vote for me and retweet and say vote for Randy.
Or Brooke.
Yeah, the vote counts aren't big enough that you couldn't definitely influence this with a couple phone calls.
CD was getting thumped here in the voting, wasn't he?
Yeah, 2 Americas.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 Americas.
He was. And that's why I feel like, and we can discuss this more at 8, I feel like this is rigged because who is voting for double potatoes? Because he has 2 different types of potatoes.
It's the Midwest.
She's saying it's rigged, but she was saying that during the debates.
Here in the Midwest, what person wants a lot of different kinds of potatoes? What's going to be next? Multiple fried foods at one meal?
There you go. All right. Thank you very much for your text. Coming up, speaking of sides and desserts, we're going to have these 2 taste test my French silk pie, and we're going to play a few more of your mic drops about where the Cardinals are. Use the 101 ESPN app to send us a mic drop about where the Cardinals are. What do you think of the Lynn and Gibson signings? I can't believe it wasn't Bob Gibson.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll do that at the top of the next hour on 101 ESPN.
It's the opening drive's fresh take.
All right, it is 8:05 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. I made a couple of French silk pies yesterday, one for tomorrow and one for Brooke and Matthew. And so it's not as firm as I wanted it to be, but it should be tasty. So if you're watching right now on our Air Alliance team studio cam via the YouTube channel, just go to 101 ESPN STL. We're going to have Brooke and Matthew try the French silk pie, and we'll find out.
I'm showcasing it right now.
Okay, I want you, and don't be shy about grading me here on a scale of 1 to 10, and just give me a grade here. You guys can both take a bite. There's a ready whipped cream on this French silk pie. Brooke is going to try hers.
I'm waiting for Rocchio so we can do it at the same time. Also, right before I take a bite.
We're having camera issues, which is I can't get my camera to show up without also showing Carrie's.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. We'd rather see the blankness of Carrie and you.
Okay.
It's like he's here with us.
Yeah.
It's like a spirit is here with
every
us.
configuration for these cameras.
Hold on 1 second. Just you guys talk for a moment.
Okay.
You gonna move over to Carrie's spot?
Before I take a bite, I want to ask this question to the listeners. I want to ask, would you rather have Cool Whip or whipped cream on your pies? Cool Whip?
Cool Whip?
Cool Whip? If you watch Family Guy, then you know why I did that. What do you like, Matthew?
I'm much more whipped cream than Cool Whip.
I have never thought about Cool Whip before on my pie until a Friendsgiving recently, and I actually kind of like it better. You ready?
I'm okay.
Do we have a broadcaster? Do we have a broadcaster on the other camera now?
Yes, we do. Thanks, BT.
BT filling in today.
We should have got him his Be Patient shirt from yesterday.
Yeah. All right, give it a try here. This is Randy's French silk pie, scale of 1 to 10. I want honesty. I want complete honesty here. Okay, it's kind of chocolatey.
Oh, it's really good.
Okay. Okay, good.
That is amazing.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it.
It is creamy.
Uh-huh.
It is chocolatey, but not like too rich chocolate. You know what I mean? Sometimes where it's a little heavy, where you're like, I can't finish this piece.
Uh-huh.
It's perfect.
Good. It's supposed to be light and fluffy.
Were you nervous?
I was.
That's
Really?
a perfect topper.
Oh, glad you
You
like
finish
it.
a Thanksgiving meal,
Yep.
you put that
wow.
right on top, and then you take a nice little nap.
Look at the desserts here. CD had sweet potato pie.
Oh, that's good.
I had French silk. Matthew had pumpkin pie, and Brooke, of course, being from the South, had pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
That's my favorite, especially when you add chocolate into it.
Wait.
That's really good. Have you done that?
How are you
needs
adding
you.
chocolate to it? Chocolate chips? So you're drizzling chocolate on top? Like,
You've never had pecan pie with chocolate in it?
I'm not a big fan of nuts. I don't like most nuts. So I've had a piece of pecan pie before because I was going to try it, but it didn't have chocolate in it.
What?
Well, I don't like nuts, so I didn't really like it that much. But it didn't have chocolate in it. I'd try a second piece of pecan pie if it had chocolate in it. But I'm asking, are you putting in chocolate chips? Are you sprinkling chocolate on top?
I think they just put
What's
the
the delivery
chocolate in there.
system?
I'm not sure. I haven't made it before, but I just have had it before.
All right.
And it was delicious.
I'm going to Google.
We need you to declare that pecan pie is great. We just, America needs this.
Pecan pie is great.
Let me tell you, around this time of year, as you gather around the table, I do sure love a pecan pie. I do declare that it is delicious. And Randy, thank you so much for delivering this silk pie for us today.
You are very welcome. You're very welcome.
Bless your heart.
Michael has joined us with a mic drop here. Oh, did you want to play the Gibson highlight that we had? You were excited about that?
Oh, the Kyle Gibson highlight, right?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals signed Gibson yesterday, and Randy immediately goes, "Oh man, he's had some legendary moments."
And Gibson is one strike away from the no-hitter. He takes off his cap. He mops his brow. He looks in and gets the sign. He starts the windup. Here's the pitch, and it's a strike called. A no-hitter for Gibson. Simmons roars to the mound, embraces Gibson, who's engulfed by his teammates, as the Cardinals win the game 11-0.
So I was so excited, and I had this highlight ready, and then Brooke and Matthew have to point out to me that no, it's not.
It's not
Gibson.
that one. No.
Dang it.
If only, right? That would be amazing to have at this moment for the Cardinals rotation moving forward.
That's a number one.
That's a number
an
one.
ace.
Yes, that is a guy that definitely will leave it all out there.
Yeah.
I miss Baum.
I do too. He was a great guy. All right, Michael checks in with a mic drop on 101 ESPN.
If I hear somebody in a negotiation talking about it's got to be a good fit, it's got to be a good fit. Well, if they're trying to sell me something, that means that they're the high price, and they know they're not going to be able to be the lower price. On their end of it, saying it's got to be a good fit, it's got to be somebody that's got to want to be there in St. Louis, that tells me is we got to find somebody who will take a little less to be here because we're not going to pay top dollar.
Not wrong.
Ooh,
that's right. That's 100% right.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to decipher. We always talk about John Mozeliak and the hieroglyphics and really seeing what he is trying to say. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a very good way of deciphering that message. Because the point that I was making earlier, I completely understand. Of course, you want guys who want to be here and be a St. Louis Cardinal and develop into the Cardinals way. I totally get that, and I understand what Mozeliak is saying. But at the same time, you should be convincing people and selling them on why they should come to St. Louis. And money sometimes helps with that, but also showing that aggressiveness of we want you here because we think that it will provide X, Y, and Z and will get us to this point, to the playoffs, to any of that stuff. That's something that will really get any player excited who is extremely competitive.
Brooke, you look now, though. I asked Mark McGuire how much it means to him to be in the Cardinal Hall of Fame. He said, it's everything. It's everything. Being a Cardinal and being in the Cardinal Hall of Fame is everything to me. Mm-hmm. Jim Edmonds stays in town, right? And he's a great player, borderline Hall of Fame player, and stayed here for less money because he wanted to be here because the Cardinals gave him a chance to win. Loves the Cardinals. Chris Carpenter comes back for everything. Loves the Cardinals. You've got Izzy here in town. Still works for the Cardinals. Loves the Cardinals. You spend time in that clubhouse. What player now with Adam Wainwright gone do you think loves being a St. Louis Cardinal and would stay here for less?
I think that there's probably a price for everybody, but somebody who loves being a St. Louis Cardinal, I think Tommy Edman fits that category. Mm-hmm. I think that he really enjoys being a St. Louis Cardinal. I think that Lars Nootbaar likes being a St. Louis Cardinal. I think that Wilson Contreras was very excited about being a St. Louis Cardinal because he really enjoyed and looked up to Yadier Molina. Yeah, I don't know if that has changed.
But here, let's with Lars, who's from L.A.
Yeah,
4 years he's a free agent, and the Dodgers and Cardinals both offer $100 million over 4 years.
Yeah.
Is he going to stay here? Or is he going to go there where they're winning? Where he's from there?
And that's the thing is that I think that there's a price for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. But you look at what the Phillies are doing, those guys took less money. Yep. Aaron Nola took less money. Yep. If you even look at the the moves that they did prior to that, they took less money to stay in Philly. So maybe there is more attractive places that they could have gone to where you want to go to the West Coast. Everybody wants to go to the West Coast, right? If I hear that one more time, I get that. I would love to be near a beach too. But yes.
Jimmy Edmonds and McGuire both decided to forego the chance to get into the market to go to the West Coast so that they could be Cardinals. I don't see a lot of that now. I don't see. Adam Wainwright always said the letter he wrote on the Players Tribune, I loved being a St. Louis Cardinal. I don't think that the hometown discount exists anymore. I think Michael's exactly right.
Exactly.
Let's get one more from John here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
When I first heard the news yesterday about Kyle Gibson, I wasn't thrilled. In fact, I was pretty aggravated. But when I stopped to think about it, between Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, they won 28 games last year. If the Cardinals get Michaelis and Matz to win 28 games and find a top of the rotation pitcher that wins 15, there's 71 wins. And isn't that our goal? Oh, it wasn't so good in 2023, was it?
No.
I love that. That was so good.
I think it is important to note that these are not pitchers that don't give you a chance.
Yes.
Now, does Lynn need to allow fewer than 44 home runs? Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got 3 of the top 5 pitchers in terms of hits allowed in their rotation in Major League Baseball last year. So they probably need to be better that way. But the Cardinal defense needs to be better too. If you have Mason Winn at short, I think it should be Edman at second. And maybe I don't know who you have in center field at the moment, but if you have those pitchers that gave up that much, Lynn pitched for one of the worst defensive teams in baseball. Michaelis pitched for a team that he gave up a lot of hits that would not have been hits when DeYoung, who had lost a step, and either Gorman or Donovan was playing second base. If they tighten up the defense, I think those hits the ground ball hits drop precipitously.
It's going to be a very busy season for the Cardinals defense, to say the least. And even with Kyle Gibson, you know, when you look at what was he led the American League, right, in hits allowed. I mean, that was over 192 innings. So that kind of comes with the territory of being able to pitch in that many innings. So I totally get that. I was just surprised, and I totally get what this person was saying that called in, is that I was fine with getting a Lance Lynn or a Kyle Gibson. I wasn't expecting both of them. Now, does this completely take them out of the conversation of getting two more starting pitchers? I think it does, right?
Yes.
Unless you move Matz to the bullpen. And that's why I asked that earlier in the take it or leave it. Is that a possibility that's on the horizon? Because right now, I think if you're looking at the money and what Mozeliak is saying, it's just going to be getting one more starting pitcher with this rotation. I can understand some of the concerns with that when it seems like you have a lot of guys who fit that category of being more in the back end of the rotation.
And that's what they're being paid. Back end of the rotation guys now get $10, $12 million like these two are getting. And a guy that hasn't reached free agency yet, a Glasnow, who gets $25 million next year, a Dylan Cease, one of those guys that you trade for, that would be more palatable financially, I would think, for the Cardinals. I think a trade probably for a number one is more likely than a free agent number one like a Yamamoto or a Snell.
No Yamamoto?
I don't think so. Yamamoto, no. No.
No.
Just on that really quick, because we just got a text. The Lynn and Gibson signings make sense if they get a bona fide number one.
Yeah.
So right now, if it's not Yamamoto or somebody on the free agency, who is Glasnow a bona fide number one? Does that fit that, or is that
he doesn't take the ball as much? Cease would be my guy, but you have to have people to fix him. By the way, I've talked a lot about how the Cardinals, even during the season, I said they need three starters. That's what they got in 2000. Well,
yes.
Pat Hennigan and Andy Bennis were kind of, not to this level, but they were kind of what Lynn and Kyle Gibson are now. But then the Cardinals got Darryl Kyle in a trade. And that was the key, because Kyle was a legit number one. And that's the direction they need to go. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, Eli Drinkwitz and his Mizzou Tigers take on Arkansas, trying to get to their 10th win on Friday afternoon. Are Drink and his staff kind of taking a page out of the Gary Pinkel playbook? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're getting ready for tomorrow, but you aren't completely ready, you need to head to Schnucks today and pick up whatever you need. Now, if you don't want to roast a turkey or grill a turkey tomorrow, you can head to Schnucks, and they'll have turkey breast for you, and you can just pick up some pre-sliced turkey breast and just have it that way. Everything that you need. If you need to pick up a can of yams, some people, they did everything, but they forgot to pick up the can of yams. They even bought the marshmallows and stuff. If you need to pick up the can of yams today, head on over to Schnucks. Everything that you need, even if you want to get a late turkey at 79 cents a pound, is available at your local Schnucks store. And there's a couple of things about it. Number one, you can get cash back when you use Schnucks Rewards on the Schnucks Rewards app. And when you go to Schnucks, if you're in a hurry today, you can just put your list into your Schnucks Rewards app, And whatever Schnucks store you're in, the app is going to guide you around the store to make your experience very quick, very efficient, and very easy. It's Schnucks. It's got everything you need for Thanksgiving. If you're headed to the grocery store today, it's going to be crowded. Download the Schnucks Rewards app before you do. Arkansas, 3 o'clock on CBS. That's Channel 4 here in St. Louis on Friday, on Black Friday. And it's interesting when you look, Brooke, at what the Tigers are accomplishing here. And they don't have a highly regarded publicly for ESPN and Rivals, stuff like that. They don't have a really highly regarded recruiting class, and they haven't had highly regarded recruiting classes. However, when you look at the history of Mizzou, they've got some pretty good things going. And you look at the history. From 2004 to 2014, Gary Pinkel's recruiting classes at Mizzou ranked 31st in the nation, including a 35th ranked class after their 12-2 season and SEC East Championship that ranked them 12th in the SEC. Of those key 2013-2014 teams, you had 3-star E.J. Gaines, had a long career in the NFL as a cornerback. Running back Henry Josie, who was terrific, an all-SEC performer. 2-star players, SEC Defensive Player of the Year Michael Sam wound up getting drafted in the NFL. LaDamian Washington, Justin Britt. The class of 2005 had 1 4-star, but included 3-star performers, Chase Daniel, future NFL first-rounder Ziggy Hood, and Chase Kaufman. Other notable 3-stars, William Moore, who, oh, by the way, was a wide receiver when he arrived on the campus at Mizzou, Will Franklin, Dominique Hamilton, and notable Pinkel-era 2-stars, striker Sulak, Denario Alexander, who wound up leading the nation in receiving yards, Sean Weatherspoon, who was he a second-round pick of the Falcons?
First rounder. Very end.
Had a really good career in the NFL, Andrew Gatchkar. And you look at the players that Eli Drinkwitz has brought in. Chris Abrams-Drain, one of the best cornerbacks in the country, a 3-star performer. Enos Rakestraw, another great corner, a 3-star performer. Connor Tollison, Mekhi Miller. They've got really good players, and obviously Brady Cook, a 3-star. I don't know that Cody Schrader had stars, right? But these players are being coached up at the University of Missouri and turned into really good players, which is the essence of coaching. You can get all those 5 stars like Jimbo Fisher did, but you can have a lot more success when you coach 2 and 3 stars well.
Yeah, I mean, Brady Cook specifically, I remember covering him when he was at Chaminade, obviously very talented with everything that he did. But the big concern was that he was going to be too reliant on his legs. He's a very mobile quarterback, which he still is. The concern was, would he be able to do that at the next level? His development over the years, I have to give credit to Eli Drinkwitz and Mizzou for what they've been able to do, because I don't think that I was even expecting this much of a change and turnaround from Brady Cook going into this season. If you remember, it was supposed to be possibly they were going to go with 2 quarterbacks to begin the season. I know that was a big kerfuffle that we talked about a lot. And then Brady Cook really emerged as everything that you wanted for your starting quarterback and has led them to this point. From going a 3-star to what he's been able to do, he was co-offensive player of the week in the SEC this past week. I mean, that's a pretty big deal that they were able to really develop him in that way.
And we don't talk about enough that he got hurt last year in the K-State game. His shoulder was so bad that he had postseason surgery. And he played essentially 3/4 of the season with a shoulder that just didn't work and actually turned into representative performance. Now he can really spin it with a healthy shoulder, man. He can throw it. And he's probably a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the whole country, I would think. He's got to be right in that group. He's not Jaden Daniels, and he's not Nix, and he's not Penix, but he's really, really good. And that's a credit to Drink and the coaching staff.
And we've talked a lot here, right before the Georgia game and through the Tennessee game and the Florida game. We've kind of had this thread of talking about the sustainability factor. And can Drink build Mizzou to their biggest height, which is, you have to get to where you were at with Pinkel first. If you want to get to the next level, you got to get to where you were at there. So coaching guys up, and you factor in the fact that so far Drink has a better start off in the St. Louis area than Pinkel did early in his career. So if you start that base with the recruiting, especially in the St. Louis area, and you continually build from there, it's not just going to be, are you coaching up 2 and 3 stars? It's going to be, how are you putting together 4 and 5 stars? And that's when things change on campus.
And the recruiting in the St. Louis area could not have been worse than it was under Barry Odom.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Yes, and the fact that he was able to turn that around so quickly, that is huge to me, Eli Drinkwitz, with what he's been able to do. And that was the question is, okay, so you're able to go get some of these recruits, some of these lower level, even maybe some big ones with some splashy recruits as well and prospects. Then can you develop them into what they are now? And he's been able to answer that with the results this season. And will he be able to continue to do that? I think so. But now he's in the position, I think that quote that we had from him, what was that, like last week, where he talked about now they can be picky and selective with the guys that they bring in. I mean, this is a great body of work to be able to show players and say, hey, look, I will give you an opportunity, a chance. Cody Schrader is a great story. Even the way that Eli Drinkwitz has utilized the transfer portal, bringing in Theo Wees, who has been a huge factor for Mizzou this season, I think that he has a great body of work to really build off of and even get bigger recruits.
And one of the reasons that we really can't take full stock in recruiting rankings anymore is because of what you just said. Who's Mizzou's best defensive player? It's Tyron Hopper out of the transfer portal, right? There's so much that happens in the transfer portal. The recruiting rankings don't mean nearly as much as they did even 5 years ago.
No, they really don't. Sometimes I wonder if the recruiting rankings even matter that much, because there's so many guys where maybe they are a very highly touted young star in high school, but that also doesn't measure if they're going to be able to handle that leap and the pressure that goes from being a star in high school to all of a sudden you're playing in the SEC or in college football, and there's a huge leap with that. And will they be able to mentally handle that challenge?
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because anybody can coach up a 5-star. Not to say that Saban isn't great. He does. He is. But one of the things the late, great John Cadleck would tell me on a regular basis with the Pinkel program, and it was indeed a program, he said, nobody in America recruits to their scheme better than Missouri does. They find players that fit. Rather than trying to mold players, go get a 5-star and mold them into your system, they went and got players that fit into what they were doing. And that was a huge reason for their success.
I agree.
That is Brooke. That is Matthew. We've got a Hall of Fame battle coming up here.
Oh.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I wonder,
this is big.
Yeah, what's his name?
You don't know his name.
Kyle.
Randy, you know his name.
Kyle Gibson. No, I just wonder if he has French silk pie. Anyway, the fight is coming your way next on 101 ESPN.
Oh, no.
Hey, if you're looking for the perfect, thoughtful, relaxing holiday gift, how about a gift card from Massage Envy? It's the perfect gift for every body on your list this holiday season. Give the gift of me with a Massage Envy gift card. They can use it for a massage or a facial or a stretch. And now through December 31st, when you buy $100 in gift cards, you're going to get a free $20 promo card to keep for yourself or add to someone's gift. Massage Envy, where better begins. Offer good in location only, not available online. Terms apply. See franchise location for details.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Yesterday, the Cardinals make another move as they signed former Missouri Tiger, former Baltimore Oriole, former Philadelphia Philly Kyle Gibson to a one-year, $12 million contract with an option for another year. The Blues back in action today, facing off against the Coyotes. It's an 8 p.m. puck drop. Means you can catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 7 p.m. Also, you want to hear some more Blues talk coming up at 9:15. Jamie Rivers, Blues analyst and the Fast Lane host, joins Brooke and Randy at 9:15 to talk about the Blues. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Brooke Grimsley here alongside Matthew Rocchio. No Kerry Davis today. He will be returning next week, but this is probably a moment that I know that he is listening to. I'm sure he'll text me here in a minute. He's listening to right now because this is a very big moment, right, Rock? Because Kyle
here we go.
is joining us. Kyle, how are you feeling today? You have been on a roll against Randy this week.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Hopefully the luck keeps going.
All right. Well rested? Have you had some food, some coffee this morning? Ready to take on Randy in the fight?
Yeah, got my workout in, ready to go.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started here. This is a big moment. Rock, are you nervous?
No, I was more nervous. I was trying to get the camera configuration figured out again so that it shows actually us instead of you and BT, who apparently is our guest host. No, I'm not nervous. It's if Kyle is the second Hall of Famer since 2022, then good for Kyle. And I'll take my lumps where they may.
There you go.
I still think the Dallas Texans thing.
Oh no!
Anyhow, let's get into these questions. Which active pitcher holds the MLB postseason record for strikeouts with 244? Is that Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, or Max Scherzer?
I was thinking before the options, I was going to go Verlander, so I'll go with Verlander.
Who is the only defensive Hall of Famer to play for 5 different teams? Is it Rod Woodson, Deion Sanders, or Richard Dent?
Ooh. 5 different teams. I'm going to go with the last option, Dent.
On this day in 2013, the Cardinals traded David Freese and who else to the Angels for Randall Grichuk and Peter Borges? Was that Fernando Salas, Seth Maness, or Edward Mujica?
What was the first option?
Fernando Salas, Seth Maness, or Edward Mujica?
Let's go Mujica.
Final question. The Lions are the only team in NFL history to retire a number for 3 different players. Which number is it? Is it 81, 3, or 20?
Either 81 or 20, I'm going to guess. So let's go 81.
All right, we'll double check
our score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Kyle, how are you feeling today about this one?
A little bit better about a couple of them, but then the other 2 were not so complete guesses. So.
All right, Randy is now in studio. Randy, how are you feeling taking on Kyle again?
I'm feeling good, man. I had my French silk pie. I'm good.
Nervous at all?
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with the fight.
Which active pitcher holds the MLB postseason record for strikeouts with 244?
Active pitcher with postseason strikeouts. The guy that's probably pitched the most. You know what? This is a coin flip, actually. I think I'm going to go with Verlander over Kershaw. I'll go with Justin Verlander.
Who is the only defensive Hall of Famer to play for 5 different teams?
NFL.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that is
it could have been. It could have been NHL because everybody else plays both ways.
Let's see. So.
Not a gotcha question.
No.
Deion was Atlanta, San Francisco, Dallas, Washington, Baltimore. So you've got Deion Sanders, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So I can start with that. He's started with the Falcons, went to the Niners, went to the Cowboys, went to Washington, and then went to the Ravens. So I would go with Deion Sanders off the top of my head.
Randy, on this day in 2013, the Cardinals traded David Freese and who else to the Angels for Randall Grichuk and Peter Borges?
Fernando Salas. 24 saves in 2011.
Nice.
Final question. The Lions are the only team in NFL history to retire a number for 3 different players. Which number is it?
I'm going to go with 20 because I'm going to say that Sims and Sanders and I don't even know maybe Lem Barney would wear number 20. I will go with number 20 for the Detroit Lions.
A Hall of Fame spot is on the line. And ladies and gentlemen, somebody hit the jack today. So the question is here. Does Kyle walk into the Hall of Fame with not a gold jacket, but I dare say a gold cape?
Oh my God.
If he wins the Hall of Fame on a freaking jack, I dare say it would be a gold cape. Or does Megamind come back at the end of the week, right before a holiday? We're not going to see each other for 4 days. And does he snag victory from the jaws of defeat? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
Does it feel good to do that again, Randy?
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Which?
Oh, either one, honestly.
Oh,
any of them.
I know I got one. I know what you. Okay, I know what you're asking for. Okay.
It's
Too hot. Yeah, that one's good.
Thank you, Randy. All right, Kyle, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, Kyle. You were so close, but unfortunately, Randy Carricker came to play today. He was not intent on allowing another Hall of Famer in today, and he beat you 4-1 in the fight.
Yep, I understand. I had a good time, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you so
it was
much
a
for
great
joining,
fight,
Kyle. Let's go through those fight questions. You know the answers if you were listening to Randy's. Which active pitcher holds the MLB postseason record for strikeouts with 244? It was, in fact, Justin Verlander who added on to it this past postseason. Who is the only defensive Hall of Famer? By the way, Kershaw is second. He moved into second place in the 2022 postseason, and then eventually Verlander passed him. Who is the only defensive Hall of Famer to play for 5 different teams? You got it 100% correct. Deion Sanders. Those little Washington and Baltimore tags at the end that people sometimes like to forget about. And by the way, Dent had 5 stints, but he returned to the Bears for one of them. Played for 4 different teams. On this day in 2013, the Cardinals traded David Freese and Fernando Salas for Randall Grichuk and Peter Borges. That was a great trade. And the Lions are the only team in NFL history to retire a number for 3 different players. And Randy, you hit the jack on that one exactly. It is, in fact, Lem Barney, the first player who wore number 20. They unretired it. They then let Billy Sims run around with it. He then had his career cut a little bit too short. They retired it, and then as soon as they got number 20 from Oklahoma State, they were like, yeah, we're going to have to pull that one back, and for good reason, because he would go on to earn a 3rd retirement for the number 20. So a 4-1 win for victory today. Thank you, Kyle, so much for joining the fight and joining the show this week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kyle. By the way,
he had the whole week.
I don't know if there are Billy Sims highlights on YouTube. Billy Sims was an absolute stud. One of the legendary stories, by the way, is that one time Oklahoma was killing Mizzou at halftime, and Barry Switzer gets on the phone. No cell phones here, so he just goes to a payphone outside the locker room and calls Billy Sims at his home in Texas and says, "Hey, you watching the game?" Billy said, "Yeah." He said, "You coming to Oklahoma?" Billy Sims said, "Yeah," because it was just so fun to play for Oklahoma. Billy Sims, by the way, born in St. Louis, he was an absolute stud. He had seasons of 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns as a rookie. His second year, 1,437 and 13 touchdowns. Then he got hurt and he was never the same. But man, was he electric when he was good. And they've been fortunate with really good running backs, not very fortunate with winning in Detroit. They're doing it this year, though.
They are.
Brooke, 1 playoff victory since 1957. The whole franchise
doesn't even seem real.
Isn't that crazy?
Honestly, it really doesn't even seem real.
No, so I am so rooting for Lions fans because we went through it with the football Cardinals here, and it is miserable to not win playoff games. So I'm rooting for the Lions, for their fans as much as anything else. Coming up on 101 ESPN, ESPN.com has 7 NFL coaches and 2 coordinators on the hot seat. Who's already gone and who has a chance to stick around? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you want a dazzling lunch today, stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton and have an absolutely heavenly lunch. Man, you can get a turkey sandwich there that is to die for. And it's not just the turkey sandwiches, but they have a great chicken Caesar wrap. They have wonderful soups every day and a great staff to take care of you. You will get to say hi to Megan and Kelly and Colleen. And today is Alicia's birthday. So if you stop by and go to the Fenton Bar and Grill, say happy birthday to Alicia. And she is very prepared behind the board to provide you with a well-prepared lunch or happy hour. And I'll tell you what, at the Fenton Bar and Grill, they're all about Mizzou. They're going to be showing the Mizzou game on Friday. So you'll be with a bunch of like-minded people when you stop by to watch the game on Friday at 3 o'clock. And they'll have great specials for you, and you'll have a great time. Oh, by the way, tonight with the Blues playing, beer specials during Blues games as well. Fenton Bar and Grill is the place to go. If you want to set up a holiday party, just stop by and say hi to the boss man, Chuck. He's a great guy, and you will enjoy it immensely. You'll probably see me there at some point soon. It's the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com, and when you go, tell them Randy sent you. ESPN.com has an interesting piece up about coaches on the hot seat, and one of them, right after this piece dropped yesterday at ESPN.com, got fired. Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator of the Steelers, if Kerry was here, he would be smiling because...
Oh, he was excited yesterday.
Yeah, he really was.
He really was.
So, yeah, he got whacked. He took the big haircut. It happens. It happens. So... he is out. And Brooke, one guy not on the list that you wanted to touch on is Robert Saleh, who's doing some weird things in New York with the Jets.
The whole Robert Saleh saga and everything that's going on with the Jets right now, that's pretty peculiar because if you haven't seen the news, Zach Wilson is not going to be the starting quarterback moving forward. And not only that, he wasn't just benched, he also is going to be their third string quarterback. So that is Saleh basically saying, yeah, we're not going to use him whatsoever. What does that mean for the Jets and everything that's going on? Is that just saying, okay, you gave me Zach Wilson, this is what I was given, I am showing you I don't want anything to do with him moving forward?
That's the feeling that I get when I watch that situation. And he was supposed to be the backup anyway, but at least for a healthy Aaron Rodgers, we were never supposed to see Zach Wilson. But even before he came back this year, he's one of the few quarterbacks that I thought, man, he just can't play. And normally I'm willing to give a quarterback the benefit of the doubt, and because I don't think that quarterbacks are given enough time to get developed these days. But in this particular situation, I don't think he deserves to have a chance to play.
No. And to be demoted to third-string quarterback, I think, sends a very strong message. Now, one where I don't think that Saleh's job is on the line necessarily, but I feel like it's going to really make temperatures rise there with the Jets moving forward. And you mentioned this. Aaron Rodgers, as we know, he always talks with McAfee and his show. He's a regular guest on there. Mentioned that he could possibly return even this season.
Right. He's planning on practicing in 2 weeks.
There's no way, right? Is that even a smart, say that is possible, is that even a smart move for him and the Jets to make?
No, it's not. It's a desperation move. It's Rodgers wanting to show them that he's committed to the franchise. It's the franchise, they're going to make the playoffs, but saying to their fans, yeah, we think we can. But at the end of the day, no, it's a dangerous move. Quarterbacks don't come back from these injuries anyway. Dan Marino was never the same after his, and I just can't imagine that they would bring him back so soon after the Achilles.
No. And if I was him, I wouldn't even want to, just risking even more injury where you know for a fact that you'll be completely done.
Yeah. All right, some of the other coaches that are on the hot seat, Brandon Staley, he has way too much talent in L.A. with the Chargers to be able to maintain that job. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't made a move, but Brooke, when you look at the staff, he has not surrounded himself with people that can replace him. That's one of the problems they have. He doesn't make good in-game moves, and the staff isn't that good. And that team, one of the hallmarks of good head coaches is that they win close games. And since Staley became the head coach of the Chargers, they've lost more 3-point games than any other team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he supposed to be this defensive guru, right? And it seems like that is a very tense topic because I know that CD mentioned this the other day. Did you see that where he was having the conversation with reporters, and when that was brought up about him and the defensive play calling, he got very testy about that and saying he's going to continue to do that moving forward. I feel like Justin Herbert has really been the only thing that has helped him keep his job up until this point, but there has to be some changes made there because you mentioned the personnel. I think Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. He needs a better system.
I think Ron Rivera is a good coach, and you couldn't have been put into a worse situation than he was with Daniel Snyder as his owner in Washington. But I get it's a new owner and wants to get rid of everything associated with Dan Snyder. So Rivera, even though he's a good coach and just needs better players, I would think he's probably out in Washington because Josh Harris wants somebody new.
Yeah, I can see that. And who would be the right fit, you think, for the Commanders?
That's a great question. My first choice for every single job where there's that we're going to talk about, my first choice would be Harbaugh for all of them.
So you think that really will happen, that he's going to go to the NFL after this?
Yeah, I think he is.
I can see that, just running away from this situation. Even how he really didn't put up much of a fight with the investigation, I really felt like that was him saying, okay, well, I know I'm going to get away from this.
Especially after he was saying, I can't wait to get my day in court. I want to talk in court.
Yes.
And then to just cave completely. Yeah.
I mean, I really do think Bieniemy's doing an incredible job with the offense of the Commanders, despite the offensive line and good skill position players. But I really think he's scheming that offense like crazy with a quarterback, while talented, who holds onto the ball so long while having a bad offensive line. He was getting head coach interviews. Is Bieniemy kind of the favorite if they fire him?
He might be the guy because he's obviously had an opportunity to build relationships there. Matt Eberflus should be gone. He's been abysmal. And there's another place. Harbaugh started his career in Chicago. He's a Ditka guy. They adore Ditka. He has coached a quarterback with a skill set similar to Justin Fields and Colin Kaepernick. Or they could just go get J.J. McCarthy because they're going to have 2 of the top 3 or 4 picks. There's no way Eberflus can last in Chicago.
No, there's absolutely no way. And I agree with you. I think that is the perfect situation. I can see Harbaugh going that route when he's going to the NFL for sure. With Justin Fields, there's definitely a question of if he can be an NFL quarterback, if he can be a franchise NFL quarterback. If this doesn't work out and they do this job change, then you have your answer there. If he's still not able to be successful, but you have to figure out something with him, I feel like. Do you feel like he can potentially be a NFL starting quarterback?
I think he could, but the problem the Bears have is if you have the number 1 pick and you can have your pick of Caleb Williams or Penix or Bo Nix, all of those guys that are going to be there this year, you have to use that number one on a guy that, especially if you have a new coach, you have to use that number one on a new quarterback. You just can't hope that Justin Fields turns into what you hope he turns into.
Yeah. Another situation like that.
Is Frank Reich one and done in Carolina? They suggested that he is in at ESPN.com.
That's tough. I can see it.
If
possibly.
they only win 2 games, if they go 2-14 with a very impatient owner and David Tepper.
Yes.
I
with Bryce Young. What do you feel like Bryce Young that there's more potentially there? When we're talking about young quarterbacks giving a chance, it feels like they haven't been able to maximize that with him.
It's the classic situation of a team not fixing the offensive line. They all go out and spend the number 1 overall pick on a quarterback and then don't give him any help. Who's the running back in Carolina? I mean, who's he throwing to?
Exactly.
Who's
who are the
protecting him?
pieces?
Right.
Yes.
You got Bryce Young and then a cast of thousands.
The running back there is the guy with the most aggravating name in the NFL.
Who's that?
Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, yeah.
Whose name should be Chubba Hubbard.
Yeah, Chubba Hubba. Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. Brooke, your team. Is Vrabel on the hot seat, or should he be?
Well, here's the thing. Things have not been going well in Tennessee. It's hard to understand because what were they even going into with the season? Was this a rebuilding season? Was this a retooling season? I don't even think that the Titans knew what they were fully getting into. Derrick Henry is going to be gone, obviously,
and
by the end of the season.
He's done.
He is. He is done. And it's very frustrating to see it play out in that way. And the whole quarterback situation, I still do believe that Will Levis has a lot of potential. I think if there's one thing that Titans fans should be excited about, and I'm excited about, is the future of Will Levis. I do think that offensively, and maybe this isn't a Mike Vrabel losing his job thing, but having somebody who's a better offensive play caller. There's times where it felt like they just wanted Levis to fit into Ryan Tannehill and what worked with him, and not necessarily what Will Levis's capabilities were. So I would just like to see some more creativity. I don't know if Vrabel can exactly give that. I honestly can see him moving on to the Patriots. That has been the big talk in Tennessee is Vrabel going to go to the Patriots, which I can really see that happening.
Yeah, and then get an offensive-minded coach. It's harder to find offensive minds than defensive minds. Get somebody who can nurture Will Levis and help him turn into the guy that you want him to be.
I think he looks good. I think that he's very poised. The offensive line has been a big issue for the Titans, and the Titans aren't alone. That seems to be something that every single NFL team would love to have. But I feel like if you get a good O-line, maybe some more creative play calling, that Will Levis could really shine.
Yeah, teams can really do a good thing by watching what Philadelphia has done in terms of building an offensive line, and that's how you build an offense. And then one other hot seat name is another coordinator. We talked about Robert Saleh at the beginning of this conversation. Nathaniel Hackett, his offensive coordinator. I think that they would have to have Aaron Rodgers in a straitjacket if they would get rid of Nathaniel Hackett in New York.
I can't see it happening.
I can't either.
No, this offense and what they were supposed to do was obviously built for Aaron Rodgers, not for Zach Wilson. And so I think that there's no way that he would lose his job because of that. I don't even think that Saleh would lose his job. I think that this is the situation that they're just in right now. But still, I mean, making Zach Wilson your third string quarterback, that sends a very strong message of how much you don't want him.
Yeah. Who does he turn to for comfort in a situation like this?
Randy, I know what you're going to say.
Mom's best friend?
Oh, no, I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah.
No.
That's where it's going.
Randy, the good thing is there's no artificially good-looking older women in New York.
Oh, that's a good point, Matthew.
That is a hotbed for that, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Coming up, if you'd like to weigh in on the Cardinals and where they are right now, we're still accepting your mic drops with the 101 ESPN app. Just go to the mic drop feature and tell us what you're thinking. More from Mo as well. Coming up on 101 ESPN. Hey, I have a great gift idea for you. Black Friday is here, right? And with the holidays approaching, a perfect gift idea for your family. It's called Sound Story, a professionally produced hour-long podcast-type conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including me or other 101 ESPN personalities like Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter. It's a conversation that includes the experiences of your family, mom, dad, brother, sister, from childhood, school, career, meeting that special someone, and all they've experienced and all that you love about them. And then this audio file will be saved for your family, kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, for perpetuity. With Sound Story, you or your loved ones' voices and stories are saved for your family. You and your siblings can go in on a gift certificate for your parents and get them a Sound Story starting at just $399 at mysoundstory.com. Now through Black Friday, enter the promo code ESPN and get 20% off that Sound Story gift certificate. It's a gift you'll never regret giving, but it's a gift that everyone in your family will absolutely love. Go to mysoundstory.com and enter promo code ESPN to get this Black Friday week special of 20% off a gift certificate from Sound Story. That's promo code ESPN at mysoundstory.com. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever. The Cardinals signing both Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson to one-year contracts plus an option for 2025. Brooke, Randy, and Matthew, 905. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. And Brooke, one of the things I think we have to note here is that with the one-year options, if Graceffo and or McGreevy and or Connor Zerpe don't come along, some of the other young pitchers that the Cardinals have that they expect to be good for them in 2025. If those guys don't turn out to be what they expect, those options are really valuable. If Lynn pitches well, Gibson pitches well, and the kids don't turn out like the Cardinals hope they will, then at least you have a little fallback. Not that they're hoping that they have to use the options, but you have the fallback just in case.
Exactly. And that's something that Mozeliak mentioned in the press conference yesterday, is that the young players may emerge and surprise us, but we don't want to end up doing and is saying that we're counting on X, Y, and Z and then end up being disappointing. He felt like they did that last season of hoping that certain players, young players, would emerge. I don't know if I'd put Dakota Hudson necessarily in that young player category because of his experience, but I think that he would also probably consider that. But I think they were expecting a lot of guys to step up last season in case of injuries or things not panning out, and they didn't work out that way. And so now you have two guys who are very well known for, one, their veteran presence and their reliability. Two guys that are innings eaters. I know that people are probably tired of hearing that at this point. My big concern, though, with both of them, I was fine with getting either or. Like, say that you got a Kyle Gibson or a Lance Lynn. I would completely understand that. That was perfect to have at the back end of your rotation, one of those guys. But getting both of them, and both of them 36 years old, does that concern you?
It does, but here's what I hope is their thought process and what I thought when I heard that they had signed Gibson yesterday. You have to plan on Steven Matz being hurt. You have to, right? Because he has been the whole time. So now all of a sudden you have more backfill in the event, likely event, that Steven Matz is hurt. You can count on Michaelis now. I think he's going to be there.
But what do you see him slotting in as?
He's a 3-4-5. But now rather than Matz as a 5, one of these guys fills in at a 5. You still have to go have, because I think that Zach Thompson's in the rotation, but you still have to go get your number 1. And one of the things that the Cardinals are hoping is that circumstance benefits these two pitchers as well. Lance Lynn allowed 44 home runs last year. League high. I don't know about guys allowing 44 home runs, but he did. But John Mozeliak thinks the ballpark will help him out.
Well, obviously, we think this ballpark will play better for him. He did give up a lot of home runs, so very well aware of that. I think the other thing is he wants to show that he can be better than that. I think Lance with a chip is a good Lance, and I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder.
Now, Randy, you obviously got to know Lance Lynn really well. What is Lance Lynn like with a chip on his shoulder?
He's crusty. He's great. He's a protege of Chris Carpenter. He pitched with John Lackey. He's got that demeanor. He's highly competitive, and Mo said it right. Lance with a chip on his shoulder is a good Lance. Now, the question is, at this stage of his career, with all the pitches that he's thrown and all the starts that he's made, is Lance Lynn going to remain effective? Because, as we've heard once or twice, Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, I think we have seen that several times.
Now, one of the other things about these two, with their seasoned nature, shall we call it, is that something that was desperately lacking in last year's Cardinal clubhouse will be on hand for the pitching staff, and that's leadership.
Well, you need guys you can count on, but you need guys with experience. You need guys that can help younger guys understand what this is all about. So I look at these guys as, yes, they got to take the ball. Yes, they got to pitch deep in the games. But, yes, they're also going to help some of our younger players. So I think they check a lot of boxes for us. And, look, these guys weren't going to be here tomorrow. So, if we waited too long, then I just don't think we would have gotten the types of players we were looking for. The way we were approaching it is we knew we need innings. And if we were just to go out and sign one good pitcher that was exciting, then where do we go to backfill? And some of the timing of this necessarily wouldn't go with us being patient. So to get two guys that, almost collectively had an aggregate of 200 innings last year pitched, had we not acted on this week, they're probably not here tomorrow. Whereas some of the upper end pitchers are still out in the market.
Now, Randy, when you hear be patient, I think that a lot of fans, and rightfully so, when they hear be patient, you immediately start thinking back to when you last heard that, right? Which was earlier this season, where we heard Mozeliak say, you guys just have to be patient. How many times did we hear that at the beginning of the season?
Hundreds.
A lot, too much. And so when you hear that the theme of the press conference yesterday is going to be patient, which I understand that he also mentioned that this is just one of the first moves. This is not the finish line. And I would hope to God that it's not the finish line. And so I'm going to believe him in that aspect. But what do you think about the approach so far? Because I think that people were wanting to see a more aggressive approach this offseason. And I understand you have to check some boxes and you have to handle some of the other things. But I think people were wanting to see some bigger moves quicker.
One thing I've said forever, and it ain't going to change. The Cardinals are run like a business with a budget, and they aren't going to blow out the budget. They aren't going to deviate from the budget to go get Yamamoto or Aaron Nola or Blake Snell. They aren't going to blow out the budget for anybody. It's just not going to happen. So what the Cardinals need to do, and one disappointing aspect to yesterday is that Mo said that we haven't gotten deep into trade discussions. You had the general managers meetings. You should have started. But you'd hope that the Cardinals would make a move for that number one quality guy at the winter meetings. They aren't going to sign a big-time, big-money free agent. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's something that we as a fan base, we're fans, we have to come to grips with. We aren't going to be the Padres. We aren't going to be the Mets. We aren't going to be the Yankees or the Dodgers. It's going to be a business that's run like our radio station, where there's an expectation that they're going to make some money. I would dearly love for 101 ESPN to increase their payroll to $200 million. I would love it. But is it going to happen? No. And the Cardinals are the same way. By the way, John Kioski just walked by. John Kioski, Tommy Matter. And if you do increase it to $200 million, can Brooke and I get like 50 each?
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But Randy, how do I not panic? And how do fans not panic right now? So with what you just mentioned, it is 100% accurate. I understand that they're going in with a budget. I know that they're going to be very limited. They've made that clear that they're going to be prudent with their spending this offseason. Yeah. How am I supposed to feel better about whatever move they're going to make? Because also he mentioned yesterday that they haven't looked that deep into the trade market. Right. So what move will they make?
That's the $1 million question. And they might do stuff just to get them back to 81 wins rather than 91 or 95. And that's the troubling aspect to this, is that depending on what they do with their coaching staff, he said they're going to add to the coaching staff, they might not be a great team in 2024. They might do things to get them back to around 500, give them a chance to be in a wild card hunt, get to those 84. I think Arizona had 84. Get to those 84 wins to be in the wild card. That might be what we're living with. Let's get one quick mic drop from Connor here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Mo preaches patience, which is great. Last year in season, early season, he told us to be patient, and there was a lot of season left. How'd that turn out? Last place in the division. This year, he's preaching patience in the offseason. Okay, I understand that. It's early. The only way these two moves make sense is if you get a bona fide ace via trade or free agency.
100% right. 100%.
Yes.
You need, as we mentioned earlier in the show, you need that pitcher to be able to go against Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola or Spencer Strider or when he comes back, Walker Buehler. You're against you, Darvish. Against even in your own division. Justin Steele has turned into a stud. Corbin Burns is a stud. Keller is a stud. I mean, the Cardinals don't have a number one to go against even the guys in their own division, let alone the rest of the National League. So, yeah, none of this makes any sense unless they get a number one.
They need that. I mean, there's still a lot of work left to do. And the thing that just concerns me where you're bringing up the spending, and also we know that they don't go out there and give kind of those long-term deals. Mm-hmm. So I would love for them to go out and get Yoshi Yamamoto. I know that there's a lot of connections, and seems like if you are going to strike on a player like that, 25 years old. Of course, he'll be looking for a longer-term deal. It seems like this would be the best opportunity to do so. He's also Nolan Arenado's agent. We know the connection with Lars Nootbaar. This would be the time to strike. But then after the comments yesterday, it sounds like it's something that they definitely will be looking into. But is it going to be another situation, Randy, where you think that, yes, they'll look into it, but it just won't get to them closing it out again?
Their only real move is a trade. They aren't going to pay for the length, the term, and the price for Yamamoto. They aren't paying that. They aren't going to pay it for Blake Snell.
But why not?
Because
doesn't it feel like that
Brooke,
this should be the chance to do this?
Because it's run like a business. And
Yeah.
like Mo said, you can go build a pitching staff or you can get one bright, shiny object, but you can't have both.
I don't like that, though.
I know.
I wish that their approach, I think that after the response, I was just hoping that there would be a different response this offseason.
Don't get it in your head that they'll ever do anything different.
So really quickly, playing that out, how do you give up a Nolan Gorman if you aren't willing in 2 years to give a Dylan Cease that deal? Like, are you willing to say,
Yeah.
we're going to give up that 40 home run potentially future to get this pitcher, even if you're not, because Cease would be up for free agency after 2026. If you're not willing to say after he comes up, we're going to give him that big contract.
They've signed their own guys, but they sign guys that they know, but they don't sign guys from the outside because they don't know them.
But even that, their biggest one right now is what, 5 years, $100 million to Adam Wainwright. That's the biggest pitcher.
For a pitcher, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
98 and a half.
26 years old, Cease is going to be wanting 7 years. Are they going to be willing to give it to even when they have a guy in, are they going to be willing to reach that puke point even at that point? Because
it's going to depend on the circumstances. He's from the Atlanta area. Is Atlanta going to be interested in him, or are they happy with what they have with Strider and Elder? And those guys are going to be commanding big deals at the time. What's the Cardinals' economic situation at that point? It's impossible to. Who would have thought in 2018 that we would have COVID and that the landscape would change as much as it did? There's no way to project what 2026 will look like in Major League Baseball, especially with the Bally situation.
The Bally situation, yeah. Do you think that's something that factors into, I know that we have
No.
to get to the break. Does that factor into any of these short-term deals that we're seeing with Lance Lynn and Gibson and how they're approaching things?
No, because Bally is the last team that they will not pay the rights fee for is the Cardinals. And if they pay it, then the Cardinals are in for 10 more years. Bally's not going anywhere with the Cardinals. So it is what it is. They aren't going to have the opportunity, the risk-reward thing, like Arizona, San Diego right now. They are actually able to have their own network and sell their own stuff. But apparently they're taking a bath financially because of Bally leaving them. But I think it would presumably be different for the Cardinals, you'd hope. But right now, the Cardinals, what it says in the contract is what they're going to get from Bally. I would be absolutely stunned if there is a Bally if the Cardinals weren't the last man standing.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody just texted in from 302. Randy is cranky this morning. He's speaking the truth, but oh so cranky. I like it. Happy Thanksgiving. I think this is a fired up Randy, and I think that you are really embodying how a lot of people feel with their frustrations right now with the offseason.
You know, it's a trite phrase that a lot of us don't like, but we have to live it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I have an "It is what it is" sign on my desk in the office. It is what it is. Coming up, Mizzou getting ready to take on Arkansas. We're going to talk to John Nabors. Is it like Jake Nabors, Neigbours?
It's Nabors, Nabors.
Oh, okay, like Gomer Pyle.
Yeah.
Okay, John Nabors talks Arkansas football on the radio, and he joins us next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I got a great gift idea for you. I got a massage yesterday, and it felt great going to Massage Envy. And if you're looking for the perfect, thoughtful gift for everybody on your list this holiday season, give them the gift of me time. ME, Massage Envy, with a Massage Envy gift card. You can use it for a massage or a facial or a stretch. And now through December 31st, when you buy $100 in gift cards at Massage Envy, you'll get a free $20 promo card to keep for yourself or add to someone's gift. Massage Envy, where better begins. Offer good in location only, not available online. Terms apply. See franchise location for details.
completely disregard Mizzou. I know. Because it goes back to the thing where Arkansas is better than them, but they just don't win the game. It's just like, those years that Ole Miss beat Alabama back-to-back years. Was Ole Miss a better team than Alabama? Yeah. No. It just happened, and that's what it feels like with Missouri. Like, Drinkwitz has not had a winning record. That guy has not had a winning record.
South Carolina just said the same thing yesterday. It's like,
yeah,
like we lose it, but we shouldn't be. We were the better team.
Yes, and it's so that's where it's like I'm putting it as if you measure both teams on the field, talent-wise, all of that. Arkansas is a better team. They should win.
That's Arkansas broadcaster John Nabors with Brooke Grimsley. I'm Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, and John Nabors joins us now on the opening drive. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Well, other than trying to battle through some congestion that I'm going through with the weather change, I'm doing all right. How about y'all?
We're doing good. John, first of all, you and I worked around each other down in Arkansas covering the Razorbacks. And as we just played that sound there, now I know that there's always a big rivalry between Arkansas and Mizzou. Explain your thought process of what you were talking about there, because I know you got a lot of flack on social media for those comments.
Yeah, it was basically like looking at the past couple of years when Arkansas had lost to Missouri. It was a frustrating game because going into that game, most Razorback fans felt like they were a better team, a more talented team, and felt like they should have won that game, but they didn't. And when they didn't win the game, that's when the frustrations really could boil over. And that's what's kind of made that game at times so frustrating, even back dating to 2016. If you look at the end of the Brett Bielema era, what ended up being the beginning of the end was losing to an 0-7 Missouri team on the road when Arkansas had 3 SEC wins, about to get to 8 wins, and they just didn't. So it was mainly just showing that even though Missouri wins the games, which I give them credit for, I'm not denying that, Razorback fans have felt like those were games, and more often than not, that they should have won, but Missouri played a better game against them.
No, I see what you're saying there. Now, John, I wanted to ask you about this season, your impression of Mizzou, because Eli Drinkwitz has definitely shocked a lot of people, and maybe not exactly shocked, but maybe surprised some people in the SEC with what he's been able to do with the Tigers this season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him a lot of credit. He's been able to put together a team that just finds ways to win. And I think even last week is a real indication of that, where I'm not trying to say it's luck, but it is a element to where every single team that has a successful year always, in some cases, has a ball bounce their way in a lot of games. And I think he's done a really good job of being able to find different ways to, whether it's defensively or offensively, make plays and get the wins. And so I think you got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, 9 wins this year and has a possibility to get to 10 wins. And especially considering how this is his first winning season as Missouri's coach, he's done a really good job. And so we'll see if he can finish the job and get to that 10-win season on Friday. But, yeah, you got to give him a lot of credit.
John Nabors from 103.7 The Buzz in Arkansas. What did you think of the announcement that they're going to bring Sam Pittman back next year?
Reaction because, Sam Pittman is a likable guy. I think everybody can see that. But the problem is that Sam Pittman had 9 wins 2 years ago, 7 wins last year, and more than likely going to finish with 4 wins this year. And there's not really many coaches in the SEC and SEC schools that can survive something like that, where you get worse in your 3-year span. And so, especially in your 4th year. Now, Arkansas has had a lot of close games this year. They've had a lot of one-possession games that they lost. But it's no excuse. You got to get the dubs. You got to win the games. And I think Sam Pittman made a lot of mistakes as a head coach this year that they could have avoided. But I get why they're trying to bring him back, because they feel like they have enough going for getting guys out of the portal. And they feel like he's going to make a really good hire at the offensive coordinator position. So they want to give him one more year, one more chance. But overall, nobody is really, truly pumped up and excited about next year, because there's really, at least at this point in time, nothing to be too excited about.
Hey, John, we kind of think that the Mizzou program this year kind of maxed out. 10-2 is like the best that Missouri can do. Or ordinarily, if they go 9-3, 8-4, fans are going to be pretty happy. There's a lot of self-awareness here about the program, which has never won a national championship. What do Arkansas fans expect of that program?
Well, I think the majority of sane fans, logical fans, believe that Arkansas should be a program that, one, never misses a bowl game, but 2 averages anywhere between 6 to 8 wins on the year. But then every 3, 4, 5 years, jump up to that 9 to 10 win range. And I think that, like this year, for instance, is a great example of that. If Sam Pittman was 7-4 right now, everybody would be fine. Even if he was 6-5, I don't think everybody would be, pumped, but they would be like, hey, tough schedule, kind of where you're at. But really the expectation I think most Razorback fans have is, hey, just be competitive, get to a bowl game at the minimum, and then every so often get to that 9 to 10 win range, maybe compete for something every so often, and people will be pretty happy and pretty satisfied.
John, I think personally, in my opinion, I think this has been a fun rivalry to have between Arkansas and Mizzou, but I still know that some fans don't fully buy into it. But this season feels a little bit different. One, I know the programs are at very different levels right now, but you also have Eli Drinkwitz, who's from Arkansas, with everything that he's been doing with Mizzou. Do you buy into that this is a big rivalry for the teams?
I mean, me personally, I don't think I ever can, because of the horrible first impression that this rivalry, quote unquote, became, because it was such a forced thing where Arkansas played LSU at the end of the year, as we all know, and it had been going on for a couple of decades. And then suddenly when Missouri jumps into the conference, it says, okay, Arkansas, you're not playing LSU anymore at the end of the season. You get Missouri at the end of the year, and here you go. Here's a rivalry trophy. You're getting a rivalry game, and then here's a trophy, and then it's a sponsored trophy, and then we're going to call this a rivalry. It's like it's something that has to be built organically. And so because of the bad start that it got off to, where it was just this forced marriage, trying to force it to be a rivalry, I just won't be able to ever see it as an organic rivalry. It's like, no, it's more so of just the conference and people trying to force it into something that it's not, instead of just letting it build organically. So I don't see it as a rivalry, because if you ask Arkansas fans, hey, circle the game you want to win the most each and every year, Missouri is pretty far down on the list. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like it might be the same for Missouri, where they may not look at Arkansas as a team that they want to beat every single year. They probably want to beat other teams first, and then Arkansas may be further down the list. But again, I could be wrong about that.
You're 100% right. And it's all circumstance, John, because this year, with Mizzou having a chance to go to a New Year's Six bowl game, this is a really big game. But it's not because it's Arkansas. It's because they're 9-2, right? That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. It's a time where Arkansas can actually, like, one of the few times that they can play spoiler against Missouri. It's kind of been the opposite a lot of times. Missouri either didn't have a great year, and Arkansas was feeling themselves a little bit, and they played spoiler to the end of Arkansas's season. Might be the same way where Arkansas can finally do that against Missouri, where Missouri's finally having a good season and Arkansas's not, and they're not going to a bowl game, so maybe they can play a little bit spoiler and keep Missouri out of a New Year's Six bowl. So maybe this could be the start of something that could work out, but I mean, who really knows what's going to play out in the future of college football, much less this conference.
Hey, one last thing. What do you expect on Friday?
I mean, I expect it to be a close game. I think Arkansas wants this game a lot, just because it's their quote bowl game. It's their final game of the season. It's senior night, and it's their it's at home. And Sam Pittman being the coach next year and getting officially announced, I think that there's an element of he wants to go out on a high note and give Razorback fans a good feeling of being able to, get some positive going into the offseason. But I believe, Missouri's probably going to win. I mean, I'm not going to pick Arkansas to win. Missouri's a better team because, I know that people love to play that clip, but I'm admitting that Missouri's a better team and that therefore they should win, because I feel like if Arkansas wins this game, Missouri fans may feel similar to what I felt like, where it's like, yeah, you should have won that game because you were the better team. So I think it'll be a close game, but I still think Missouri ends up getting the victory.
John, great stuff. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Take care. By the way, since Mizzou got into the SEC, the first game against Arkansas was 2014, and Missouri has lost twice and won 7-2 for Mizzou against Arkansas since entering the SEC. 9-4 overall.
How many should? What should the record be, Randy?
I think Mizzou should be 0-9 against them.
I was going to say at least like
that should be.
5-4.
It's kind of like the expected goals thing, right?
Well, no,
you could say
no.
I'm
not allowing that. I'm not allowing that.
We're allowing Jamie Rivers to sleep in a little bit. He joins us from Arizona next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I love to work with great St. Louis companies, and Gutter Pros is one of those. Their general sales manager, born and raised right here in St. Louis. He's got his downtown office, and I'll tell you what, Gutter Pros, all of their people work around the area. They are within 50 miles of their facility, and they'll come out and they'll do a free estimate for you. And as a matter of fact, a lot of their people don't even need a map. They'll come over to your house in South St. Louis or in West County or on the other side of the river in Illinois. They'll come out and provide a free estimate for you when you need gutters. And it's not if you need gutters. At some point, you're going to need gutters, and that's why you need to go to gutterpros.com. And they do more than just gutters. They do soffit and fascia, but if you have them out, they can do anything you need. They'll provide 5 or 6 inch residential gutters. They've got really strong and big commercial gutters as well. So whatever you need, whatever you're in the market for, they've got it at Gutter Pros. Just go to gutterpros.com. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, 4.9 out of 5 stars on their reviews. And when you need gutters, there's only one place in St. Louis to go. It's gutterpros.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues not in action the last few days, but they are back facing off against the Coyotes in Phoenix tonight. It's an 8 p.m. puck drop with a 7 p.m. pregame show starting right here on 101 ESPN. You want to hear more Blues talk? Stay tuned right now to the opening drive as Blues analyst and 101 host Jamie Rivers joins the program to talk about the Blues. Also, some information on free agency. Mark Feinsand reporting on Twitter that Shoto Imanaga, who started the WBC championship for Japan, is expected to be posted between now and Monday, which puts his timeline to sign roughly a week behind Yoshinobu Yamamoto. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
The St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Let's head out to the Valley of the Sun, where Jamie Rivers is standing by. Blues and Coyotes tonight. Then the Blues will come home right after the game for Thanksgiving. Rivs, good morning. How you doing?
Good, guys. How you doing?
We're doing outstanding. The Blues only 1 point ahead of Arizona, and Arizona clearly better than they have been in years past. But should they be competitive with this edition of the Blues?
Well, Bill Armstrong, the GM of the Coyotes, what he's finally done is he's tried to create a competitive team. And it's not that it's been on Bill Armstrong. It's just the organization, as anybody knows, has been kind of in turmoil for many years, whether it's been ownership to whether they have a rink or not, to which they really don't right now. They're playing out of the ASU rink, and just lots of things to where they were tanking. And finally, Bill Armstrong has added some stability to this roster. He's added some really good veterans to this group. He's got some really good young players as well. So he's created more of a balanced team, something to where the young players can start to develop with other veteran players. So this team it's better than the Arizona Coyotes have been for a long time. But certainly, not where anybody would like them to be. But it's a competitive team. It's a tough team.
Rivs, from your personal standpoint, is there a better arena name in the league than Mullet Arena?
No. Mullet Arena takes the cake. In fact, quite honestly, if I was the Coyotes, I would have had it mandated all of my players have mullets, specifically now that we play on a Mullet Arena.
I'm sorry. That was so funny. Jamie, you had a mullet back in the day, right?
Well,
kind of.
Several versions of it. I did have the mullet going. I didn't quite have the Billy Ray Cyrus achy breaking heart mullet going. But I did have the old Kentucky waterfall there for a little bit.
Oh,
and it was glorious, by the way.
It was glorious. That's amazing. Well, Jamie, I know that they're closing out the road trip tonight, but the West Coast portion of this road trip, what was your takeaway? Obviously, you didn't like what you saw losing the Kings in that manner and the Sharks, and then you were able to come away with a win against the Ducks. I feel like we're still just trying to figure out which version of the Blues we should be believing right now.
Well, I think they are too, quite honestly. This is the type of season that it could be for the Blues team. Is you're going to have pockets to where the wheels fall off a little bit, and what I think the difference is this year is I feel like the leadership group, including the coaching staff, are on top of it. And it wasn't pretty in San Jose. It wasn't great in LA. Those were two games where you just didn't start the game properly. You gave up bundles of goals at a time, and nobody likes that. But then, credit to the leadership, you turn it around quickly, and you play a much better game in Anaheim. The Blues team that played in Anaheim was much more the team that we, have seen recently, where they're good on the forecheck, strong defensively, taking away the blue line. All those things were present in Anaheim, and they weren't in the two games before that. And look, to me, it's not always going to be a work of art this year. It's not going to be a dominant team for all the season. But the things that I like to see are that a team can rebound from what they're doing, and that the same things don't just keep presenting themselves over and over again. That shows me that it's a team that recognizes where they're deficient, and then recognizes that they have to play better, and that they change and do something different in order to win the hockey game. So I like that part of it.
Jamie, maybe I'm just putting too much stock into the power play here, but say if they do figure out things with the power play, maybe that could be the key to finding more consistent play for the Blues. Would that be fair?
Oh, God, yes, Brooke. The power play has been, look, I don't care who you ask about it. There's no way you can put lipstick on the pig at this point because it's just been not great. But you're right. Honestly, if power play is clicking at even an average pace, this team probably has 2, maybe 3 more victories this year, because there's been pivotal times where the power play has failed them to where, it's made the difference in the game. So I'm right there with you. If this power play can figure it out, to which, they were working on it again yesterday, and Nobody's given up on it. That's for sure. There's too many talented players involved. But if this power play can get clicking, it could be a big difference.
Seems like it's going to be easier to figure the power play out with Buchnevich in the lineup and playing the way he's capable of.
Yeah, Pavel Buchnevich is great. He's a two-way player, plays in all situations, and he's a guy you're going to need on your power play. In fact, you're going to need all these guys. One thing to remember this year is you might also need guys that aren't your stereotypical power play guys. You might need them to be on the power play, too. Last game, in Anaheim, we saw at times Oscar Sundqvist was out there. Jake Nabors got a chance, and Jake Nabors will be elevated in the lineup tonight. He's going to play with Braden Shen and Brandon Saad for the game, so that's good to see. But you're going to see guys who, are willing to get to the front of the net, willing to battle, willing to do little things, puck retrievals, all that stuff. Those guys are going to get an opportunity too until this Blues team figures out the power play to where they can compete on a regular basis.
Rivs, not based on production or being a hockey player right now, but based on the skill set that you see from Jake Nabors, where does he slot in? Is he a top six guy, middle six guy? He's got the ability. Everybody knows he's got the ability to be a fourth line guy. But what's his ultimate upside in terms of just the skill set that he has, if he achieves what he's capable of?
Yeah, I think that on a contending team, he's a middle six guy. And, I just think to put him on a top line, he's just not there for me yet. And he may never be. That's fine. Not every player plays on the top line. Mm-hmm. But I do think with his ability, he could play second, third line on a regular basis throughout his NHL career. Jake's got a great mind for the game, and he's a little bit of a throwback too, Randy, to where he's not afraid to get involved. He's got that old school mentality. He'll get to the front of the net. He'll get physical. But when you watch him out there, he handles the puck so smoothly, and he makes passes. He can score goals. He's got goals in 2 straight games now. So I think he's somewhere in that middle six on a competitive team.
Well, enjoy the 77-degree sunny day in Phoenix today. We've got, I can tell you what you're missing.
Dreary.
Yeah, 42 and dreary here, brother.
Well, Randy, I apologize. And if it makes you feel any better, just the other day I was walking down Venice Beach and threw out a towel on the beach and sat by the ocean and got a little bit of a tan, so I'm sorry about
that. You know what?
Jamie.
I wish you would have gotten a burn. You're the best, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Take care. Thank you. That is our buddy Jamie Rivers, co-host of the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. And you'll see him tonight with John Kelly on Bally Sports for the Blues and the Coyotes.
I mean, technically, I guess we could get a tan. We just have to go find a tanning bed to be able to experience that. I don't know. You'd have to wait out a while.
It is not great here in St. Louis today weather-wise.
Also, if you're lucky enough to be Facebook friends with Jamie, you woke up this morning to a nice, really good picture of Jamie's tan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He posted a nice shirtless picture.
It was on Instagram.
Showing off it was on Instagram, too. So if you're lucky enough to follow Jamie, you can see how that tan's playing out.
It was a great message underneath. It wasn't just like a selfie of a shirtless pic. It was a great message underneath there.
Totally cool. He didn't even need the message. I thought the pic was nice.
Oh, you like looking at that?
I was okay with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go, Jamie. If Jamie's still listening, Rocc likes to check you out there.
I follow Riffs.
Yeah.
I follow Anthony.
Every once in a while, there's also going to be some sort of, what are you going to say? Rocc is worried about something.
I follow BT. BT is very prolific on the Facebook.
Yeah.
And the Twitter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Follow you, Brooke.
Yeah, I'm there. I was going to say banana hammock, but that's what I was going to say.
Oh, banana hammock.
He does.
Thank you for... I'm going to make a gif out of that one. Is Brooke going banana hammock?
I think
coming up,
I'm just saying.
We're going to head down the stretch of this week with a little edition of Rocc and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Hey, I need you to know about AutoLoanPro.com. If you are in the market for a new car or truck, I want you to do a couple of things. Number one, think, because I never thought until I talked to my friends at AutoLoanPro.com. But we go in and we sit down with a finance manager from a car dealership, and he says, yeah, we got a great rate for you. But there's no competition. At AutoLoanPro.com, they're working with 50 different lenders to get you the best terms and the best deal for your loan for your new vehicle. And vehicles are expensive now. So getting a great interest rate, getting the best terms can make a huge difference for you. You can save a ton of money. And at AutoLoanPro.com, they understand that bad stuff is going to happen to good people. Sometimes you're going to lose a job. Maybe in COVID, you were furloughed or you missed some payments and you didn't have the opportunity to catch up. Well, they'll work with you with your credit rating to make sure that you get the best deal possible. Before you accept terms from an auto dealer, check out Auto Loan Pro, check out their playbook, and to get started, make sure that you get the best deal on your new car or truck at AutoLoanPro.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. As you know, this year I picked up a new hobby, one that I know will last a lifetime, and that is golfing. And I'm learning at the best place in town. That is Family Golf and Learning Center. While it's getting colder outside, that hasn't stopped me from getting some practice in. And Family Golf and Learning Center in St. Louis's warmest driving range all winter long, with 30 covered and heated bays and 3 indoor TrackMan. And then you can go and warm your belly with some delicious food and drinks from their Back Nine restaurant, which also makes it the perfect spot for your holiday party this season. Speaking of which, 'tis the season to get some holiday shopping done, especially for the golfer in your life. Family Golf and Learning Center has the perfect gifts for that golfer in your life, including a club fitting sale. They're offering a free fitting with a purchase of $300 or more. Gift cards are also available for this holiday season. So for more information, go to familygolfandlearningcenter.com. Learn, practice, and play your best golf.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
So the cameras were off. And I dropped a little piece of French silk pie on the table here, on the counter. And Brooke said, you need a wet wipe? And I said, no, I just need somebody to have chocolate on their sleeve today.
No.
And Brooke came and cleaned it anyway.
I did, because I have wet wipes. You can't leave food residue over here, right?
You're right, okay.
I mean, what if BK got it on his sleeve? Or Alex,
They could just lick it off.
Oh, okay. How to, save it for later? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How kind.
Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Rocc, what do you got for us?
We didn't get to all our mic drops, so I had to get to this one. Janet broke it down in this mic drop. Thanks, Janet. Oh, no.
Okay. Wrong thing. Thanks, Janet.
Chocolate pecan pie is called the Kentucky Derby pie, and it is wonderful. It's my favorite too, Brooke.
Yes.
You and Janet on the same page.
I love Janet and Lisa. And you need to try it, Rocc. I promise you it's life-changing. I didn't know that that's what it was called, but that is, you've had it, Randy, right? You know what I'm talking about. It is so good.
Yeah.
That is.
We can buy it. Check out, send us a text. 314-399. Yo-ho! Text best chocolate pecan pie in St. Louis. Go.
Yeah, I'd happily try it. Here's the thing. I openly admit that one of my biggest flaws is that I'm a picky eater, but I try to try things. And if I don't like them, I just got to look at people and be like, listen, like I'm not making a conscious decision not to enjoy this.
Yeah.
It's just I don't like it, which I don't think you should knock people for all the time.
Oh, come on, Rocc. Come on. And somebody said earlier, did you text us in? Was this your secret burner account? Somebody said when we brought up Rock's certain takes, like how he doesn't like kids, how he doesn't like dogs, how he doesn't toast his Pop-Tarts. Somebody said, you toast your Pop-Tarts? Yes, it tells you that you can toast your Pop-Tarts. You can also freeze them.
You can also just eat them. Like you can just open the wrapper and just eat them.
They're better warm, I promise.
I think some of the
if
flavors
you don't toast your Pop-Tart, who hurt you?
Here's my thing. I can accept the fact that the s'mores Pop-Tart better toasted. I should have been toasting those from the get-go. I only really ate those in college. I didn't have a toaster in college, so I wasn't going to be toasting them.
Blue Owl in Kimmswick gets some props as a chocolate pecan pie.
But you're telling me that frosted strawberry tastes better toasted than not? Like the flavor of frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is. You'd be shocked.
100%.
Okay. Yep.
You
Fair enough.
missed
Now
out.
put it on the...
I've had Pop-Tarts heated up before.
Do you
But
have
you
it?
said that you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, let's
didn't say
start
that.
with the basics here. Do you even have a toaster in the house?
My current house, we do not have a slot toaster,
Okay,
no.
there you go. Because I have like 6 different settings on my toaster. It's a double toaster, so it's 4 slices at once.
Nice.
But I put it on level 1. So it's not toasted like toast. It's just toasted to warm up. Is that the way you do it, Brooke?
Yes.
I just want to say, I never said I like you shouldn't toast your Pop-Tarts. All I said was that the majority of my childhood, I would just grab Pop-Tarts on my way out the door and go, and then eat them in the car. I wouldn't I wouldn't unwrap them, toast them, throw with a plate and all that stuff.
Okay, guys, I have a weird tradition. And I need you to think about this if you have any weird traditions.
Okay.
When I was in college, there was a great place for Mexican here in St. Louis, 24/7 Mexican place called Noggles. And one time I was working at KCLC at Lindenwood, got off the air in the morning, and hadn't had breakfast, and went to Noggles for a breakfast, got a breakfast burrito. Didn't go necessarily for a breakfast burrito, but got a breakfast burrito on Thanksgiving. And every year since, for the last 40 years, I've had breakfast burritos for Thanksgiving. Do you have any weird traditions that just popped up like that? Or are you hoping that you develop anything like that?
I would like to create one. So maybe if somebody can give me a suggestion of what maybe they do. I like yours, Randy. Now, I personally starve myself before I eat Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's healthy. Maybe it's called intermittent fasting. I know that that's all the rage, right? Where we've kind of pretended that that's, a new diet thing that you could do. I just starve myself. That's a lot of food in a day. But
quite a tradition.
If somebody else has a really good tradition that maybe David and I can create for our Thanksgiving, I will gladly steal your family tradition.
There you go.
It's a good one.
And somebody
do you have
texted,
one, Rocc?
It was the macho meat burrito. Somebody is well aware of Noggles from the 618. Thank you very much for indulging me. Man, Noggles was good.
No, and there's some people who, now another tradition, some people do like the turkey trots. How do you feel about that, Randy? Getting up before Thanksgiving and running.
Don't run. You know what? There have been some nice Thanksgivings, and for a long time, DJ and I did the late, great Demetrius Johnson, and I did the Turkey Day game. We did it 15 years. But in the last 8 or so years, there have been a couple of nice mornings where I've just gone out and played a quick 9 on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been nice enough. Tomorrow will not be nice enough, I don't think.
No.
But you put the turkey in, because it takes 4 hours to do the turkey. Put the turkey in, go play a quick 9, come back, and then eat later. So that's a fun tradition. We've got some great ones. White Castle's on Thanksgiving. Spaghetti Wednesday on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's very cool. Does anybody else, by the way, you mentioned the turkey trot. Does anybody else run on Thanksgiving morning?
No. Like I said, I just starve myself. go on like a full fast so I can prepare.
That's a good tradition.
Speaking of stealing tradition, I've stolen, shouts to the Jewish community for this one, Chinese food in a movie on Christmas. I do that now. Y'all hit it out of the park with that one. No, on Christmas.
Oh, on Christmas.
Hit it out of the park
because
on that
Chinese
one.
is the only thing that's open.
And movie theaters are still open. And my God, did the community hit it out of the park on that combo. God, fantastic stuff there.
Brooke, one final one from the 314.
Okay.
We have breakfast for dinner the night before Thanksgiving every year.
Oh, I love that idea.
I love that idea.
I love that idea.
So enthusiastic.
I love it.
Say it with your eyes.
Great job
Love it.
today by our producer, audio, video engineer, Matthew Rocchio. Thank you.
Pleasure. She did not say it with her eyes.
No,
Love
she
it.
didn't.
There it is.
How
about that?
How about that?
I didn't even get to ask you if you had fun.
I did.
Happy
yes.
Thanksgiving. It's your first Thanksgiving with the opening drive. Are you thankful?
I am very thankful. I'm very thankful that I was able to get this job and that you guys allow me to do this. This has been such a great experience so far, and hopefully I'll be able to stick around.
We're just getting started.
Yes.
And we miss our friend and co-host, Kerry Davis, today. He'll be on vacation, be back with us on Tuesday. For all of us, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. We're going to have best ofs the next couple of days. So until Monday morning, have a great Thanksgiving and weekend, everyone.
And now for something completely different.